2022. And the time is now 7 p.m. Before we call this meeting to order, we would like to have prayer. Yes, Reverend, prayer, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
On permission, can we give a silent prayer for the Johnson family, Olivia Johnson, the wife of George Johnson, who served in this community for years.
Yes, sir.
So I'd like to also go and have a minute of silence for this family.
Yes, sir. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Prayer, please.
Thank you. Let us pray. Father God, we come together once again, realizing, Father, we can't do anything without you. Realizing that you are love, realizing everything that we do, the meaning that we do, and everything that should be love. Father, as we come to conduct the business of the city of Inkster, we ask that you give us the strength, the mind to guide this city towards victory. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. All rise for pledges of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Of course, for the record, Mayor Wimberly.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
Here.
Council Member Williams.
Here.
Council Member Washington.
Here.
Council Member Watley.
Present.
Council Member Chisholm.
Here.
Council Member Shaw. Have a full house and a quorum.
Awesome. Moving right in. Approval of the agenda.
So move.
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carried. All right, good evening again to everyone. Before we get off into our agenda for today, the chair would like to recognize the honorable representative of our state and, of course, Inkster, Joelle Jones, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, administrative staff, citizens, residents. I'm happy to be here. Glad to be at another council meeting. I was looking forward to some of the agenda items you all have tonight. I've been seeing Jason doing a lot of work over at the old City Hall. So I'm excited to see what they're presenting to us. Hopefully it's something we can get behind and support. Not too many updates from the state right now. The grant process I was talking about last time we came here regarding some infrastructure dollars, that's something I'll be coming down soon. So we kind of sit down with everyone to figure out what the grant process looks like to help out with some of the infrastructure money. We're moving into another, wrapping up our major budget as we move into probably early May now, and hopefully we can have it wrapped up before June, before we take the legislative break. You know, people are about to start campaigning and whatnot. There are some projects that we're trying to get in, been working with the mayor on them. So hopefully we can carry those to the end of the line. The Speaker of the House actually will be out here in a couple weeks or a few weeks, I believe on the 27th. So definitely looking forward to possibly having you all participate in the meeting with them. I want to take them on a tour of the city, so some of the projects that we're working on getting funded, he can see it and we can sell him that vision. I'm not sure if you all have any questions.
I just have one, Jones.
Yes, sir.
How is the state budget? Is the state budget in a surplus or is it in a deficit?
Oh, well, we're in a surplus right now, and especially with a lot of these dollars rolling in from the feds, some of the money's earmarked, so it's a little difficult to move it all around. But as far as the state dollars, we're in pretty good shape.
And as you know, the state's looking good. You know, we down here in local
Right.
is not looking that well. And one of the things that we would hope that you would echo is the return of the state share revenue increase for local municipalities, and then also how do we look at the police and fire authorities around the area, and hopefully you can echo some of those simple things that we have here.
Yes, sir.
Because we need some help in those areas, and as you know,
Right.
that is one of the largest parts of our
Indeed. Yeah, of course. The revenue, I know it's probably been about 10, 15 years now. We took that major hit, and we talking about billions of dollars that come down and help out with some of our communities. So we're definitely talking about that often. There have been some conversations. Recent meeting we had with the governor. They're trying to figure out how we can, work that back in, but it's not really something I see them figuring out just yet. But I'll definitely continue the conversation. Don't continue to echo that for you. Yes, sir.
Now, Rep. Jones, I do have to just chime in on that because with my conversation with the governor is in the budget is that with state share revenue, they gave us a 10% and then we'll have 5% increase. I mean, well, not increase, but 5% each year.
Yeah.
So it's 10% that'll be coming in the next fiscal year and then 5% each year. Instead of 10, it'll be 5. So just make sure that that's there.
Right. So
Give me.
that's what she's talking. They're talking about it right now. She is. The trick is just making sure that we get both chambers to agree on it. So she's getting, of course, it's campaign season, getting political. I'm sure that's something that's not really a partisan issue. 'Cause I think a lot of people in their communities need help. They're missing some of that revenue. Some people not as much as others. But she is doing what she's supposed to be doing on it. We're trying to carry some more of that water for her too. So that should be pretty much locked in. But we definitely want to see some more though.
All right, for sure. Any other questions, comments for the rep?
Likewise.
Thank you, Rep.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Continue doing the work. All right, moving right into presentations. Talking about the Digital Divide Project. Chair yields to Jason Dixon from Strategic Alliance Corporation.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, Council, Administrative Staff. I'm Jason Dixon, and usually when I come to see you, we have some exciting news where we have someone new coming along to put some money into the pot for this project. But today, if I can get this to slide over properly, get started with why I'm actually here. And I brought the team with me. 3 finger slide to the, bam, got it. So I got it.
Indeed, a historic day for the change in the trajectory of the city of Inkster.
Using teamwork to solve critical issues that plague small budget and small populated cities like Inkster that find it challenging to attract necessary funding for projects like the installation of a broadband infrastructure.
We have to make sure that our kids are prepared.
But how is that possible when many Inkster residents lack or have issues with internet service, as some spoke about in this video at a press conference on Thursday?
I feel like I really could have learned more had I had the access to the technology.
So the CEO of Strategic Alliance Community Development Corporation assembled a winning team to help enhance internet service in Inkster. A key player on this team, a former Detroit Piston.
Please welcome the one and only CP Chauncey
Phillips, who is currently the head coach for the Portland Trailblazers, is backing the project because he knows you can't win if you're not prepared.
And so how can you really compete in education if the teacher gives me an assignment to go home and I can't do my homework because I don't have the internet?
Phillips is working with a strategic alliance to attract more partners to this team. Partners like Flagstar Bank, which committed $1 million to this project.
The digital divide is a huge issue in the Black and brown communities in our home market of Detroit. This investment piggybacks off a $1 million grant we gave in 2020 to BIPOC-owned small businesses impacted by COVID.
The pilot project is working to raise $20 million to finance this critical endeavor.
It's all about what we call the poles in the holes. You know, we have to build the actual fiber network to go from the central office to reach every single home. And that's where I came into the team, and that's what I'm continuing to develop.
It's a project many believe not only combats the digital divide, but also racism.
You're actually delivering real, I think, lifeline for so many of our residents here. That's how you combat and tear down structural racism.
I love y'all. I love this city. Hopefully one day through these type of programs and the digital divide, we can start to even out the playing field.
In Southfield, Ingrid Kelly, Fox.
So I wanted to start with that. Can you guys give a team a hand clap for getting that done? Because you have to remember when we first started this in 2019, oftentimes, people say they're going to get something accomplished, but it stops somewhere, it stalls. But ongoing, we kept that ball rolling for the city of Inkster. So I want to pause right there, because when you have that good news and you have the team spirit, you look like, everything's going well. Everyone's happy and excited and say, what's next? Ooh, 2 fingers, 3 fingers. Boom. Do I got it? I got it. 3 fingers. They say, what's next? So we had our discussion. One of our goals was to make sure that we energize Michigan Avenue with the dollars that we got from Flagstar. So they gather that $1 million, and just think about this. Think about how hard it is to go in front of a board of a bank to ask them for $1 million for low to moderate income community. That's not an easy task. We went to their board 2 times to make sure we accomplished that goal. And we also had an opportunity to bring a relationship with New York Bank, because now Flagstar is a $90 billion bank since we started this endeavor. So as we went through their process, we was talking with the Inkster Task Force about the building that was donated to them to revitalize the community from Chase Bank. Chase Bank donated that building so we can have some training facility, incubator, those type of things. For some reason, they didn't gather the money to get it off the ground. So as we went through the process, we had the vice president of Flagstar Bank communicate with the Inkster Task Force via Zoom. We was during the pandemic. And this was prior to the kickoff that we had with the Chauncey Billups. At that time, they said, they wanted to sell the building for $500,000. And if you look in our market, $500,000 for a bank that's not been in use over 3 years is unreasonable. The market just doesn't bear that. So the vice president said, we're releasing the $1 million to Strategic Alliance once we get this process started after we do our kickoff. They said yes, but they wanted the $1 million. So Beverly said, whatever the appraised value is, that's what we're going to give you. So let's get an appraisal done. You guys have an appraisal? They said no. They said they didn't have any money in their budget to get their appraisal done. So I put the money up to get their appraisal done. It was $1,800. We went through the process to get their appraisal done. The appraisal came back at $270,000. Now, during the time that appraisal process went through, it took us some additional time, because at that time, remember, we had a flood. When we had the flood in Inkster, guess what happened? The building flooded. So when they called me and said the building flooded, I said, well, let's hold off on the appraisal till you guys get the water and things out the building, because I don't want you to have a low appraisal, because I'm being transparent with leadership and togetherness. So we went through that process, got their appraisal done. They liked their appraisal. The bank liked their appraisal. They said, okay, what we want to do is give you, we want to do 50% of the money in January, and then the other half in June. Because when you have grants from the bank, they separate the money. At first they said, okay, but we had to get the heating and cooling inspection done. So as we was waiting for the heating and cooling inspection, somebody took the appraisal that we got and shopped our appraisal to some folks in the community, some business owners in the community. So the business owner said, we'll give you $288,000 for the building. I believe what we have in value to bring to the city of Inkster is worth way more than, let me back up. I said, well, I'll raise it to $280 to be fair with them. I said, well, I'll just raise it to $280. And then they said, well, we have a higher bid. Higher bid came in at $288. I said, well, I have to go talk to the bank. I called the bank that night. Matter of fact, as we was on the Zoom call, I actually called Beverly at home and said, I need some, you know how you call like a lifeline? I called my lifeline and said, hey, I need some advice. What do we do? She said, well, tell them that we'll match it. You just need a couple of days to talk to change the policy that we made with you guys. We need 3 days. Okay. Called them back. This was on a Friday night. Monday came along. I called the lady who's handling our account. She said, I'm out of town. She said, I'll be back tomorrow. I called Connie, explained to her what's going on. They want to release the money and 100%. She said, okay. Come Wednesday, we're doing the paperwork. I showed them the emails that they're going to cut the full check. By that time, they voted to sell it to someone else. So now I'm in a pickle. So guess what happens to me? I'm in a real pickle. So I'm on the phone with Connie talking to her because you guys know that's been our contact through the whole time. She's been the person who's our go-to person going to the state meetings, going to the MISTA meetings, just being right there. So she understood the project. I'm gonna be honest with you. I bawled on the phone crying, like, why, how is this happening to us? Tears, right? And I'm a grown, strong dude. And I'm trying, tears of anger, tears of defeat, tears of just, we can't make this happen. And we've done all these things. We've brought the fifth largest mortgage bank in the country to support a small city like Inkster. And it didn't take long for them to have action. When Mayor Wembley came in office, we immediately had a meeting and talked about some things, some issues that need to get done with bringing that teller here. That was our first meeting. And he said, well, make it happen. I said, okay, we huddled up. I think within like 6 months or not even 6 months, we had a new teller out there. What the people wanted. So we're showing some leadership, traction, action, not just blah, 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 talk, right? So as we get through this process, I didn't know who else to call because I didn't want to lose our partnerships that we had. So let's go down our partnerships. We have Nokia, $37 billion corporation, global. We have Flagstar. We have a company called Festo, which is in 68% of the manufacturings across the globe to teach a program called Industry 4.0 that's not taught in our region at all, not even through the universities. We have them on team. We have the NBA. Chauncey has been very instrumental. Give Chuck a round of applause over here because Chuck stays on him. Chuck stays on him while I'm doing the other stuff. Chuck makes sure that the NBA knows what's going on. So, we have a vice chair of the NBA who's a brother named Mark Tatum. Mark Tatum and Johnson, we were texting about Inkster and how we can lead the country. So then as we're doing this, we get a hold of Nokia. So we got another company from Nokia, then Ciena came by. Ciena is I think a $22 billion corporation in manufacturing that wants to come for training education to this location that we had. So we actually sold the location with the Inkster Task Force to these corporations to say this is what we want to do. And then the tide changed. Once we started getting the letters of intent, which I sent to the mayor, the tune changed. And we don't know how that goes. So I called Mayor Wembley and I said, I don't know what we're going to do. We was on national television. That's why I wanted to play that for you guys. That we were doing something to win in a low to moderate income community. Not only did that bring more attention to us, now we have Kellogg National Foundation that's putting money to the table. Now within a short period of time, we have Kellogg. That's the #1 foundation in the world that's coming to your city. Now, what am I supposed to do? Do I give up or do I put the gloves on and start fighting? What would you want me to do? I done got us this far, right? The team, not by myself. We have Aaron, PhD student from Wayne State University. Give him a round of applause. We have very intelligent people on the team to move your city forward. Very intelligent people. So what do? Called the mayor. Mayor said, hey, Jason, the only thing I could do is give you an opportunity to look at some of our dilapidated buildings that we have downtown to energize them. I said, when are we going to start? He said, well, go by there and tell me what you think. I went by there. You know what building I went to? I went to the old City Hall. Why did I go to the old City Hall? I like her. We're starting to sign you up on the team. We need you on the team. Because, see, it doesn't take much. We saw something. He gave us an opportunity. He said, well, I'm going to have him next to me. We went over there, looked at it. The team think I'm crazy. They thought I was crazy. But he said, I'm a believe in you like you've been believing in us. He said, what do you think? I said, I'm going to get started working on it tomorrow. That was January, like the 15th, 17th of January. You guys remember how cold it was, right? Over the winter time. So there's no heat in that building, right? Right? So we up every day in the morning. We pumped all the water out the building. That's been there since who knows when. 3.5 feet of water, 10,000 square feet across. You know how much that would cost? So Roto-Rooter charges about $250 a square foot to move water. Okay? We got all the water out. Give my team a hand clap for that. Give your mayor a hand clap for believing that we can get something done. Because that's important, because if you don't have leadership to have the sight to say, you know, we got this far, you guys brought millions of dollars in opportunity to our city in a small period of time, that's worth a hand clap to your leadership. So guess what we've been doing? I'm sure you guys have seen a little white truck over there. You've seen the orange dumpster over there on a regular basis. So we went to a brother that we know that owns a dumpster, one of the only brothers in this region that owns a dumpster company, and said, look, we need to make a deal with you. I told him the story, gave him our plight. He said, okay. He said, Dixon, I'm going to give it to you 7 days at a time. I'm only supposed to give it to you for 2. So we're working deals so we can get this done. So what happens next? We got water out, but now you got all the debris that felt over throughout all those years on the ground, where you had to find a drain to snake it out to let the water out, right? So now you got tons of files in the basement, tipped over, all over the floor, 10,000 square feet. I'm gonna let you guys pause and think about that. It's about 6 of us. Think about that, 6 of us. Super Bowl Sunday, where do you think we were? Where'd you guys find this lady?
Look, they know who I am because the task force, I'm the one who wrote the proposal, the first task force.
Okay, good job.
And it was funded for Inkster Public Schools, George.
Okay, so let me speed up a little bit because I want you guys to feel what I feel right now, right? I need give her a hand, absolutely. We want her on team because I like the way she supports the cause. So let's think about this. Instead of us giving up on what's going on, Ms. Washington knows about me going back and forth with legislators. We got the legislator during a time of turmoil in Inkster to put $21 million in appropriation funds for us. 21 million for this project. So do you think after us doing all that fighting, I'm supposed to let that go? What do you think, Councilwoman Williams? I'm not supposed to let it go, am I? Okay. So I'm gonna pause there because now this is a national program that we're supposed to help other communities across the country just like we're helping Inkster. So real quick, I'm gonna go to this next one. This is our first time that we'll start our cleanup. So this will be our new location for our technology students in Inkster, Michigan. This building's been empty for about 8, maybe 10 years. So this is what it looks like right now. So every day, every weekend, we get crews to help us clean it up. A lot of glass, all this, we see the boards, all the glasses are broken. So, we're gonna show you how, young men that wanna help their community, how we get down. water in the basement.
Smelly.
It's a hallway full of paper, garbage. Those are the bags. We was at 198 bags of garbage before we had to stop moving. That's the sump pump we took out. Where you see that line, that's where the water was at. Yes. So, I want you to feel what I feel. I want you to imagine what tomorrow can look like. I want you to imagine what greatness is. I really do. Because these guys, that's work. A lot of men don't work like that for free. Them guys come in for free. Because our mentality is different. The crazy part about this is these guys are engineers. They're engineers by degree. By degree. Think about that. You know how much their hourly rate is? You know how much they're worth? But they come to your city to make it better because we see opportunity for us. We see an opportunity for our country. Because when I talk about this, and I got the vice president of Nokia here, we just did a program in Columbus, Ohio. I talked about how this project moves the country. So we can see a new landscape for communities of color like ours. Because this is not just happening where this city is hit with the digital divide, meaning that they won't put the initial money for fiber optics so you can communicate effectively and be able to learn, have telehealth. This is not here, but this is a start for change. And remember, people, we started this prior to the pandemic. So that means we have foresight. Now all we have to do is that execution. So you have a mayor that has the foresight to say, hey, look, we got to stick with this. Because what did you guys do? You guys, we worked. Yeah, we want the building, so we're going to put some work in, but like my team cusses me out on a regular basis, Jason, do we have to do it on these conditions? We can't wait till the summer time comes. It's cold, and it's a stench. We went home smelling terrible every day. My daughter said, Daddy, I think you're homeless. I said, baby, I'm not homeless. I'm just doing some homelessness work. You know what I mean? So I want you guys to consider all of that and this ask that we have to move this community where it needs to go. I want you to really give those guys that you saw do that work that hasn't been done in all these years, give them a round of applause. Because Aaron is really diligent about telling the story when I do something. He tells the team if they're not able to come, and he specifically says, well, I don't think he gave you guys enough props for what you guys do. But today, I want to make sure, you guys know you got a group of young men who's under the age of 26 who took their Super Bowl Sunday and some other holidays. 14th February, how was it? Valentine's Day, they usually celebrate. All those days we was in that building. And I'm sure you guys saw us. Because we all usually have 3 to 4 people out there. Somebody's always outside watching the outside of the truck, making sure we don't have any issues with anything getting stolen and things out there. But that's where we are. And we're making it viable. Flagstar is doing a merger right now. Beverly wanted to come, but they're doing a merger with New York Bank that makes them a $90 billion bank now that we have a relationship with. So that means we got more resources coming to this project. Now it's a national project because we've partnered with Nokia nationally to take this across the country and follow this model. So I believe, do you guys feel me? I just need a thumbs up if you feel me. Do you feel me? I just need to understand, I just want everybody to understand what we feel right now and the work that we've done and what we've accomplished some good things working together. I mean, Najita's been, Ms. Washington's been phenomenal with her role in making sure we connect the dots with the legislator in the state. You know, that was phenomenal, the things we got done. So it's not just one, it's a team effort. Joel, when we first started, Joel, you know, he said, you know what, I got you covered. I'm gonna work the state house. You work the county, you work the fiduciary people. Because we was on the phone, and Councilman Chisholm was on the phone with Beverly in the beginning when we first started bringing this together. So it was a team effort. And that's what it takes to win. And we have to continue to win. So I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm gonna bring the vice president of Nokia who sees the vision, who understands it, and look, he's trying to take us across the finish line in more ways than one. And I really appreciate him coming here to check out the building, see the landscape, catch the vision, so we can bring additional resources. A $37 billion corporation, and we talk on a regular basis. We talk like every other day. So it's not like we talk when it's, you know, morning we talking at night. Who'd you talk to today about the project? Did I talk to, who'd you talk to? So it's a bond now. So we got relationships will make things happen. So we have an actual relationship. I think he cares about this community as much as I do now, because that's all I talk about. Because please believe other people have said, let's do it over here. And I say, no. No, why? Because I gave you my word. I gave you my word that it wasn't gonna cost you any money. I said, I'll get the bank. Remember that? I know you remember that because I was strong about that. Don't you worry about it, I'll bring the banks. We've done that. We've brought other resources. We've done that. So, I'm gonna get to this other part of this presentation. Okay. Now, usually I'm pretty good with it. Uh-oh, here he comes. This is a superstar here.
What we trying to pull up?
I want to pull up his presentation. All right. Right here. Right here? Yep. That's it. So without further ado, the Vice President of Nokia, Mike Ellison. Thank you.
Thank you. So I was in the building today. I've been watching videos of it for the last 3 or 4, 2 or 3 months. And basically, it's a hazard zone. It's a liability to the city. It needs millions of dollars worth of work. At best, if you tear it down, it's going to cost $1 million to get rid of all the debris. And, I just think this community deserves more than paying money to destroy something that could be rejuvenated and repurposed and retooled for the greater good. And what we're going to talk about is not what happened in the past. We're going to talk about what the future is really going to have for this building. And it's critical that we have a building because we're losing time. And time is very, very important right now. There's a race to do infrastructure across the United States. There's talent that you're not going to be able to get. Every day, inflation's making the cost to do this more money. And, it's just going to erode if we don't do something today. And the citizens of this community have been underserved their entire lives, not just for a short period of time. They just never had the opportunity. Did my guy leave? Hang on. So, you never had the opportunity to, and you won't have the opportunity to participate in the future next generation industry 4.0, which is really the critical item that's going to change the way business is done in the future. Industry 4.0 is about digital transformation. There's going to be manufacturing processes that are driven by robotics. There's high-speed internet that needs to be done for telemedicine and education. You can't even apply for a job today if you're not on the internet and do an interview. Your people cannot access the internet, and no one's going to come in here and do it for you. The big companies, AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, they're going to do pieces. They're going to take infrastructure money and they're going to do pieces, but they're not going to solve the problem of the underserved, because you know what? They want a credit report. They want a credit rating. If you don't pay your bill, what do? They're going to shut you down. That can't happen to the kids of the next generation. They got to have access. They can't, if a family loses their internet connection, they can't get a job. They can't even interview for a job. And, just think about the repercussions of that. So as we walk through this, I'm going to try to walk us through this in a real high-level way of what the plan is that we want to do in the city of Inkster, that we're going to use as a blueprint for other underserved communities, and including the city of Detroit, which we're working with. But we're going to work with, hundreds of communities around the country to really solve this. Now, if you look at our agenda, I'm going to do an overview of what we're doing. We're going to talk about the Training Institute, which is vital to educate, everybody on Industry 4.0 and telecommunications. We're going to talk about how we do it and how we roll out the fiber broadband network that we are planning on doing. So if you look at the Training Institute, so when you look at this initiative, you need to look at it in two different silos. There's a training program, which is distinct and different from the broadband network that we're going to roll out to give high-speed internet access to the community, to all the community, not selected pieces of the community, to everybody in the community that wants to participate. Now, you can't make everybody participate if they don't want to participate. So the fiber will be there for if somebody moves in or when they want to participate, they can participate. But we're not going to stop them from participating. So the first part of the program is we're going to change and we're going to revitalize the building, and we're going to make it an innovation hub. And the innovation hub has all these abandoned buildings around it that can be repurposed into a technology hub for the future. But we're going to focus today on what we could solve, and that's solving the problem for the building. We're going to renovate the building. We're going to turn it into a data center. But more important, we're going to take this building and we're going to make a training facility about it. And we're going to talk about the training aspect of it. On one side of the building, we're going to do training. In the basement of the building, we're going to do a high-speed internet access network and data center that's going to serve the community with high-speed broadband access. So it's also going to be a showcase where we could take people in and take kids in from the local schools and community to see how it's done, so they can visualize it and feel and see technology in action. So the training is really a thought-out training program that we've got really 4 or 5 companies that are participating in the training program, but we broke it down into 3 basic categories. The categories are the foundation fiber and municipal broadband networks training. So that training is really going to allow us to educate the citizens, the children, either in high school, coming out of high school, vocational school, or even ones that went to college. They could come in here and learn how to splice fiber, install fiber, troubleshoot fiber, maintain fiber optics, install it in your home, install a router in your home, doing the aerial and buried fiber that needs to be done, running the directional drilling equipment that needs to be done. So it's a job that's going to be in such high demand in the next 10 years. There isn't enough bodies to put fiber in with all the infrastructure money coming in. This is going to give somebody the chance to learn how to do it participate in the network build that we're doing in Inkster and get hands-on training. And it's going to enable them to get a job with Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, fiber companies all around, and telecommunications companies. They're going to have a chance to build a generation of wealth just on that ability, because not only does the fiber is going to go in for 10 years, it's got to be maintained. When you put a fiber optic network in, it could take 10, it could last 20 to 50 years, depending on how well you maintain it. So the fiber optics training is going to be the first component that we're going to accelerate so we can help build the network for the community. The second piece of the training is telecommunications training, which is all the technologies everybody hears the buzzwords for. Routers, high-speed internet routers, fiber optic multiplexing equipment, dense wave division multiplexing, ONTs we call them, optical line terminals that connect fiber to your home. It's going to be the training for 4 and 5G technology, so they'll understand what a 5G radio is and how a radio network works. So that's a higher level job skill set with a higher aptitude. But the kids and the adults that are going through that program, they're going to have access to training that you can't get access to without paying $5,000 a week for training. When you go to a certification training at a manufacturer, it's $5,000 if you could get in. You can't get in unless you're a part of a big corporation. So they're kind of boxed out. They could go to vocational schools and learn basic technologies, but this is hands-on, real training on the telecommunications, because we're putting in a $500,000 lab into this facility to provide that training. So they'll be able to access the routers, configure the routers, learn how to maintain the routers that drive the internet. So they're going to be able to participate in the 5G build-out. The 5G build-out is happening throughout the country for the next 25 years. When 5G starts to get saturated, and we run Bell Labs, 6G is going to follow, and 7G is going to follow. So this training is going to enable them to be technicians, engineers, operations and maintenance personnel, high-level salespeople. Once they learn the technology, it enables them to generate a world of opportunities with tech companies all over the world. That creates jobs that they would never have access to in this community. And just think about it, the city of Inkster is going to set the foundation for them to see not only this community, but other communities. They're going to go get jobs all around the nation. And they're going to talk about what they did in the city of Inkster and how they learned it. Just think about that. The third bucket of training is really the most critical piece. You can't even work in a manufacturing facility nowadays that you don't know robotics. Later in, you're going to see these cities turn into smart cities. IoT, we're smart cities where you're going to see a lamppost be, a vertical real estate that, does video surveillance, it does gunshot detection, it lands drones on them, all of the technologies of the future. So Industry 4.0 is about wireless technologies in building to run robotics. So somebody who goes through Industry 4.0 training could be a safety supervisor for robotics. They could program the robotics. They could work on the robotics. They could participate in smart city build-outs, smart trash, smart waste. They can be in jobs that the future is really defining, like autonomous driving, for example. Autonomous driving is going to be a reality, but to do it, you need a high-speed internet access at the street level. You can't do autonomous driving inside a vehicle. You have to have LiDAR and radar with pictures of real action, movements, so you can communicate with the car with high-speed telecommunications, so that it doesn't make a mistake. The whole infrastructure is going to be changed. So that's the training program in a nutshell. And we're gonna, start with the fiber training, then go into the industry, telecommunications training, and then Industry 4.0. And we got all the best players in the world to provide the training. The leaders around that are gonna do it, and we're gonna participate in it. So let me just talk about the next pillar of this. And that all sounds pretty good, but without internet, without a network, without wiring the city with broadband fiber, there's no future at all because you didn't build the foundation of the house. Fiber optics is the foundation of every technology in the future. You hear about wireless technology. Everybody thinks, oh, wireless technology, that's the future. Without fiber optics, you can't build a wireless network. It's the foundational level of all networks that you see today. T-Mobile's networks, all based on fiber optics networks to connect all the radios to. AT&T's networks, the same. So what Jason and Nokia, backed by Flagstar and a lot of the other investors, we're doing a couple things. First of all, we're working throughout the community with Michigan at every level to help prioritize funding. Shovel-ready jobs are going to get the money from the infrastructure bill. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a vision, you're not going to get the money. So what Jason has put together and packaged neatly is a group of investors, a group of technology partners, and everything he needs to do the mayor's vision, which is transform the city of Inkster into a smart tech hub. And it's an admirable thing. So the first thing we're going to do is run fiber optics, and I'm going to show you how we do that. We're going to go in throughout the community, put fiber optics all the way into each home and each residence, and it's going to also be offered to the commercial environments, the commercial businesses in the community. Now, we did this in Chattanooga about 15, 20 years ago, and they had an integrated utility. So we combined not only their community's data network, fiber optics, but also with the utilities. And we call it take rate in this business. 80% of the community signed up to be on that fiber optic network. They had high-speed broadband access. Manufacturers came in to the community. It created, more business, tremendous amount of business growth, that really drove the community to the next level. So when you bring in jobs, you bring in workers, you bring in a bigger tax base, you bring in economic development, you take your opportunity zones and you leverage them for these businesses, then you have a future that's going to be a lot different than it is today. So we're going to build this fiber optic network. We're going to put a data center in the building, and then we're going to fiber the entire community. That's going to set the foundation not only for the internet services to the citizens or in the businesses, but it's going to help with public safety. Now, once we have that backbone fiber in, we could turn this into a smart city over time. So the next investment will be smart lighting, video analysis, video analytics, gunshot detection, smart poles. So now, if something happens in a park and a gunshot goes off, the lights go up. The video cameras point to where the gunshot went off. It goes to your 911 center, and you'll know how to dispatch accordingly because you'll see the event happening. So that enables you to do all kinds of smart city applications with smart parking, smart water, smart lighting, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But it sets the stage for the next level, public safety, which is critical. There's one thing the mayor told me, I need the public safety now. And, I believe him. This is a community that really, certain, criminal activity happens and not enough police force and not enough investment in public safety, and people without enough income, it's not a good environment. So safety's got to be key here, because no one's going to come to the community unless it's safe. People aren't going to want to move here unless we make it safe. So here's how it's going to look. So we build networks all over the world, right? And we do smart cities all over the world, and we build networks for AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, and almost 90% of the service providers around the globe. So what you do, let me just build this out, kind of show everybody what it looks like. You build a fiber ring around the city. You need a ring because if anything gets cut or it breaks, it reroutes and it gives you survivability. When we talk about we're putting in a fiber optic network, we're not putting in just a fiber optic network. We're putting in a fiber optic network that has reliability, resiliency. It's going to last. Not only is it going to last for today, but it's going to set the foundation that's going to last. The fiber will last up to 50 years. The electronics will last 10 to 20. We need to do software upgrades. We need to do at a 10-year period a hardware refresh. So we need to invest money back into the network, but it's going to be a high-powered, resilient network that's not only going to give fiber optics, but it's going to allow, the ability to sell services in the top left corner to 5G providers that want to put 5G radios in. So instead of them having to come in and buy fiber, they could lease it. And with this program, it's a revenue share program, so the city will benefit from those leases. The city will benefit from the revenue from the fiber through a revenue split. So now, if T-Mobile wants to come in, or AT&T, or both, they can lease fiber. They don't have to come in here and pull fiber. It's going to be there for them. It's just it's a transaction. If you look at the bottom left, we are building private wireless networks that really drive the future of communications with your police force, your ambulances, smart cities, sensors for IoTs. So now on top of the fiber, we can layer in different wireless technologies. In the top right, we can layer in business models for smart city and IoT services, which, could monitor everything from a trash pickup. Why go pick up a trash can unless it's full? And, if you put some sensors on it with some software, you'll be notified when you need to go pick it up instead of having to go pick it up every week and it's not utilized. So you start using your city services like smart parking, so you leverage technology to make everything more efficient. So that's the fiber optics in a nutshell, but this is how it's going to look. We build the fiber ring. We do the data centers. There's 2 data centers for reliability. One's going to be in the Inkster facility, and one's going to be off-site at another location in case something happens to that building. Anything could happen nowadays. Somebody could sabotage it. They could get a fire. So you always want to back it up either here or in a data center or another location for redundancy. But not only is that data center going to run the network, run the operations, it's going to run the training facility technology as well, and it's going to really give you the ability to sell data center services right out of Inkster and then do a revenue share with the city, which is very entrepreneurial, and that's what Jason has put together. Then and this facility alone is going to create jobs, because now we need jobs to work on the technology, to pull the fiber, to work in the community. So there's going to be an operations center. That's the next box. People need to manage the network. They need to have customers come onto the internet. They need to do maintenance calls. That's what the operations center is going to do, and that's going to be in the facility as well. So that's going to help maintain the network, manage it, and keep everything in-house. Then we're going to, bring in the internet service providers that help sell internet services over the top, so they could come in and they could market to the community, sell internet services, and they ride on top of your fiber optic network, and the revenue is shared. So if you look at these then you could bring on the wireless networks, Wi-Fi in the park, and when we talk about internet to the building itself, to the resident, we call it XGS PON. It's the middle box on the right. But let me give you a view of it, what it really looks like. The red box, the red cloud is the data center. It's the building that we need. It's and we're gonna have optical line terminals in the building, and then fiber straight into the home. And we're gonna have what's a hockey puck that mounts in the house. Now, our technology is so advanced, we could really software program that device to go from like 100 megabits, which is basic internet services today and probably pretty good in some areas, all the way up to 10 gig or 25 gig. And we program it in software without any hardware changes. So everybody thinks a gig speed today is great. Well, next year, 2 gig is great. We program 2 gig. It's all done in software. You never have to touch the network again. What this network does is it's easier to manage, maintain. The city doesn't have to upgrade a legacy network like AT&T does. They don't have to worry about the past. We have an optimal, very precise network that we have a lower total cost of ownership than any big corporation coming in operating it. And it's really going to be very efficient, easy to maintain, and it's going to be easier to provide network security over the top of it. And that sets the level to add all the smart services. So that'll give your citizens access to education. They could do online courses, YouTube videos. They could do telemedicine with their doctors seamlessly. They could do remote education. They could do anything a high-speed internet allows them to do that they have the ability to do without any problems at all. And what it does for the community is it allows us to put smart technologies in to increase public safety. Oops, okay, jumped ahead, sorry. And here's some of the city services on top of it: smart water, smart lighting. So once we do the framework, those are just applications on top of the network, so they all work together. A lot of cities make a mistake. They implement a smart parking application. Then in a different initiative, they do a smart lighting initiative. And then they want to do a smart waste, and they do them all separate instead of as an integrated approach, so it's all works together seamlessly so you can secure it all. So all of this technology comes back into a management platform that you could see and leverage it at the public safety point, at your 911 center, for example. So, once we layer on the smart technologies later, and they're additional from the 20 million to do the community, but they'll be worth it, and they'll be able to be done at a lot lower cost than having to do them later, or separate, I should say. So here's phase one. Here's what we're going to do. I think it's got sticky fingers. We're going to see the yellow lines. We're really going to put fiber optics throughout, and this is buried fiber optics. So let me explain the difference between aerial and buried. When you put an aerial fiber in, it's a lot cheaper, a lot easier to put in. You got to work with the utility companies to get pole attachment fees, and you pay those on a regular basis, and there's laws that govern that. When you do buried, you don't have to deal with that. But what the most important thing is longevity. A pole corrodes, somebody hits it with a car, it gets knocked down, then your internet goes down for that piece of the community. So it's vulnerable to people shooting at it, people cutting it down, somebody having an accident. So by putting it in the ground, it's 3x up front, the cost, than putting it in the air. But it's less to maintain, virtually zero maintenance. You know, it's going to last longer because it's not in the elements. It's not going to get damaged, and it's protected with conduit. So your fiber will last a long time. So we're going to go through every street in the community of Inkster, and we're using this as a blueprint for other communities, and we've done it in other communities, but this is much different because of the training program. So when we install this fiber, we're going to take the education and the students, and we're going to put them into the workforce. And that workforce is going to allow us to educate our citizens along the way so they're not left behind. And if they don't understand something, they could go back in the lab and we'll, educate them again until they get it. It's a work in progress, but it's training with on-the-job training, which gives them hands-on experience that builds a resume for the community. But this is laying out the fiber optic network to all the houses. There's about 20,000 people. We imagined, and we ran business models on it, 5% of the people is a very conservative number, and the network pays for itself in 8 years, and then it starts creating a profit after 8 years. Now, a lot of the community needs subsidies to pay for their internet. And Jason's team knows how to work with, the mayor to get the subsidies allocated on the school lunch program. And, but it's a total of pretty much 9,000 homes and 700 businesses, so 9,700 fiber optic connections that will be able to be obtained with this network in this community. And it's really going to give everyone the chance to participate. So if you look at the maps, we mapped it out, we laid it out, we designed it, we priced it out, we know how much the fiber is, we know how much the cost to run it. Jason's got a lower cost of ownership of installation because not only is he utilizing his students, but he's also working with the unions to supplement it. And it's going to take about 2 years to put this network in. Right now, the biggest problem is time, because the time is, the supply chain issues are real. So the equipment's in high demand. The infrastructure bill's real. So people are ordering fiber. Some people order on the internet 4 pair of pants so they could, check each size, and they're eventually going to send 3 back. They're stacking the supply chain with false orders. So that's driving prices up because the demand appears to be higher, but it is going to be high. So fiber optics have went up 25-30% in the last year, 18 months, significantly, especially with the infrastructure bill. So the longer you take to do it, the more it's going to cost, and it's eventually has to be done. It really does. So the community is going to get fiber everywhere. That's the foundation for everything else. In summary, and then I'll be glad to answer any questions, the whole program is going to give Inkster the opportunity for a future vision and strategic future to close the digital divide. That's the basic necessity that you need to do. But it's going to do way more than that. You're going to save money on demoing this facility that you got to demo, right? And so it's going to cost less to repurpose that building, not for Jason, but for the city. Jason's got to spend a lot of money revitalizing it and redoing it. It's going to make the building a productive part of the community, creating jobs. and helping everyone, you know, for training purposes, economic development, for the broadband access. It's going to drive the future generations and present generations the ability to generate wealth and prosperity and be educated so they can participate in technology in the future. It's going to drive economic development. Once you have these kind of networks, now corporations will come here because they know they have public safety as well as high-speed internet access for their employees. Almost 70% of people are working from home nowadays. Without high-speed internet, it's impossible to do Zoom videos all day. It's going to provide the economic development, you know, and the internet access that we need, but it's also, it's driving investments and the opportunity now with the plan to go to the state to get the funds from the state, the attention that you have with the investors, the intention that you have with the technology companies that want to do this and the training companies, you know, it's really crucial to move quickly or you'll lose that attention and everybody kind of, you know, goes to the next, you know, scenario and they'll forget. And Jason, for 2 years, hasn't forgotten. He's been trying and trying and trying, and we want to support him all we can. But the key is to take Jason's private money and the public money, and then money that we generate from the network itself to have this self-sustaining network that's going to build the digital future for Inkster, the city of Inkster. And so the mayor asked me to come here and talk about it. And I want to thank everybody for the opportunity. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions? Councilwoman Watley?
Is there a hard copy of this report that we can have?
Hard copy? Can you send that to us?
Can that be emailed to council?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well, you could email it to the clerk and then she can disseminate it.
Yes.
And have they been in contact with planning?
No.
Because there's, you know, the city's project that planning is working on, it seems like it would be a dovetail.
The city's project that
what is it, something cities, redevelopment cities or?
Oh, redevelopment ready communities.
Right,
Yes,
that seems like this would dovetail with that type of thing, no?
It'll fit for sure.
Yeah,
But, the redevelopment ready communities is
do we
additional
have
to the
anyone in there doing that? I mean, ad hocing and interfacing with them on that?
They
No?
will, once we make a decision. If
Okay.
That's something that we want to see here.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Flagstar has been pretty clear to Jason and I that until Jason gets possession of the building that we can't, you know, really invest a whole lot of money into the building because he doesn't own it. And so we got to be very delicate, but we'll plan with any level of the city to leverage any program or any assets. So part of what we're going to do is work with everybody to make sure we got your priorities of where you want the fiber first. We work with your other programs, and we integrate anything that you've invested in already, like your video cameras, and leverage those as part of the program. So we don't want to obsolete anything, and we don't have to. We want to make it all better and, you know, build the foundation to leverage that. But the answer is yes, we'll work with the other programs and, you know, and make sure we leverage them, because we could save the other programs a lot of money with this initiative. We also can look at the IT budgets that you spend, and a lot of that can be, in a lot of cases, we lower the IT budgets of the city because now we can provide your services to the schools, you know, and the city facilities as well. And we can bring the city onto the network, but we keep them separate. So, you know, we could keep them secure and separate. Security is really critical on a network like this.
There was another question. I mean, are they doing anything with our IT department? Because I understand IT right now is rebuilding the whole infrastructure that we have within the city of Inkster. So this is the same thing, isn't it? And exactly what are we supposed to be voting on? I've heard a lot of talk, but I haven't, what is it they're asking us to do at this point?
Yeah,
Anything?
so our point would be the property itself.
Oh, that's not part of tonight's budget, though.
No,
That's something
that's a-
that's going to be discussed later
That's
on.
where they're here before us presenting
Okay.
information to us in the community so we can move forward.
So they're asking us to sell them the city hall?
Well, that's gonna be.
The old city hall?
that's gonna
I'm
be
just
a-
asking.
That's gonna be an accident, they're gonna.
Okay,
ask us
all right.
what they're trying to do.
And the other question about IT?
Not right now, ma'am, you're out of order. Just hold on 1 second, I'll recognize you.
About IT, the other question, are they working with our IT?
Right, yeah, again, this has come to us, just like Jason explained to you earlier, they were working with the Inkster Task Force. So the Inkster Task Force, it didn't go through, and to save the project and the situation that they're doing, they came to me and asked me, you know, if I had any buildings, and I said, well, let me let you look at the Inkster property that we do have, and of course, now we're here. So we're here to let you know what we're trying to do, of course, what they're trying to do, and then, of course, to see if it's something that the city would like to participate in. And how we would
And they're
participate.
working with our IT?
No.
No,
We
not
haven't
at
made
all?
this step yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. and
I
that's
mean,
what-
they presented
And that's
this.
what he just said, though, I mean, and understand this, we just paid for fiber to be installed at the Inkster City Hall, Court, the Justice Center, the library, and the rec center. That this body approved for $142,000, and that was in 2020. If we would have had this program, what Mike just said is that
You wouldn't have to spend that money.
we had to spend that money.
Yeah.
So, you know, all due respect to IT is a contracted service that we're utilizing right now. Sounds like if we're looking at training our own people within our own community, that we'll save not only money, but we'll create sustainable careers within our community.
That's correct.
That's what we're talking about doing.
And we're gonna work with IT. We wanna leverage every asset, so everything the mayor just said will integrate into the network, so it'll be more valuable in the end. But it's critical that we work with IT and plan with them and leverage, them to make this a success. It won't be successful without leveraging your IT team.
Correct.
What kind of timeline are we looking at?
So we're looking at, immediately getting the building so it could be renovated within 4 months. If we could renovate it within 4 months, we have a lead time of 4 months for the equipment, and the equipment will be ordered. Then what we're gonna do is install the data center and all the electronics. Jason has a directional drill coming in a few weeks, and that directional drill is gonna be able to start the fiber optic build out. So, the answer was yesterday, but it's gonna take at least 4 months to fix the facility, about 4 months to get the equipment. Then we're gonna build the data center with the equipment and start building the fiber network. And then it's gonna take approximately 2 years to complete the fiber optics, maybe 3, depends on the talent and the speed. But if we leverage other resources like subcontractors and, other construction companies, we could do it faster. But there's not a lot of permits, but there are some permits that need to be helped. We need help with the permitting process because there's a handful of permits that we'll need, to do water crossings like the Army Corps of Engineer and some city permits, but we don't need pole attachment permits, so we don't have to work with the electrical company because it is all buried. So we need all the proper permitting support from the city. We need some resources from the city just to help us understand your existing network, so we could leverage your IT folks for that. And, it's going to take about, the fiber optic lead times can be from 4 months, depending on how much fiber it is. This isn't a huge quantity, but there's 4 months to 6 months lead time on the fiber optics to get going. So we want to get it done in a tight time frame. We want to identify a timeline that's 24 months, and we got to manage to it because you don't want these projects to, to go on because they get more expensive unless you can do them and you do them efficiently and you do them with the end game, in mind, right, and time.
And just one other question, and I'll be through. You said you take Jason's private money, and then you tilted your head and said this money. I would like to know who this money is.
So there's different buckets of money that are coming from the federal and state government. So we need to work with the representatives. We've got lobbyists and we've got grant writers, and we've got other resources to help apply for some of those fundings to be prioritized for the city. So Jason has, an seed investment from Flagstar, and they're going to probably increase their investment into it. He's got a leverage. He's got Kellogg's that has seed money put into it, and part of it is getting grant money as well. So that's why they all want to plan. When you bring in private investment money, even state money that's coming from the federal government is going to be doled down through the states to the counties. You got to have a solid plan of how you're going to spend the money and manage the money. So that's the other bucket is the state and the state and government funding as well as the private funding. If you combine the two, then you have a home run. Did that answer your question?
Okay. Councilman Marsh, did you have something? Councilman Shaw, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shaw.
I just wanted to know, do we have a price on the city hall? I mean, do we do an appraisal on the city hall or anything like that?
We haven't done an appraisal on the city hall. I mean, of course, we have the SEV for the city hall, and it's like $180,000. But you had to, we had a study done to remediate the building, that's to tear it down, and of course, you would have to do environmental with that, and it's like running like $890,000 and $90,000.
And it's a hazard. It's a liability, really, because somebody could get in the building and hurt themselves. There's glass everywhere.
That's exactly that's why we boarded it up the way that we did.
Now, have you talked about anything concerning leasing the property or anything of that nature?
It would be, again, for us to talk about as a body, so that's why I wanted to bring it before you.
So you're saying $180,000, that's what the SED value is?
Correct.
And then the $800,000 for the cleanup that,
Right.
would have been possible.
Right, to actually remediate the building, because the building had some environmental issues as it relates to asbestos, of course, and then, of course, when it was built, possibly lead, and then the water that was in the basement since 2000, and I believe it was 11, Mr. Bivens, we moved from over there. And basically what happened is, when we left the old city hall and the police and court in that area, we cut the power off. And when we cut the power off, being right there next to the river, of course, you had the sub pumps. So water damaged all those buildings. So you have mold that were in the building. I mean, the mold was actually on, I'm surprised you didn't show those pictures of the actual mold growing inside the buildings.
So this $800,000, they're going to remediate everything that you just talked about?
Well, that would be to tear the building down, because you would.
Yeah, that's to destroy it. To remediate it, it's millions.
Probably about $300,000.
$300,000 just
to go in and actually do an environmental study and clean it up and all that stuff.
That's all I asked.
Okay. Anyone else from this body? Any questions, comments from this body? Okay. I did have someone in the audience, Mel, with respect.
Yes.
If you can pop your mask off. Go ahead.
Number one, I want to know if anyone has examined the area to determine if it is a good location for the hub.
Yes, the answer is absolutely yes. If you look at where it is, right off of Michigan Ave, it's right on a major corridor. So it's in a prime location to be a fiber optic hub and be able to access not only Inkster, but a thorough way down to Detroit and other communities. So what we plan on doing is making Inkster first and then growing it to the other surrounding communities. And it's in a perfect location to scale into the other communities. So we looked at that very closely.
Okay, my next concern is about the individuals taking part in the training. And I want to know what would be the prerequisites for, say, students who want to get involved in the training?
So we're going to set up a comprehensive training module with prerequisites, and you're going to need you're going to need education at some level, or you won't be able to do the training itself. So we'll set up the prerequisites, but it's probably going to be, basic high school education or somebody in high school, because we plan on taking the training and integrating it with vocational schools and universities, as well as we've been working with the superintendents to do it virtually in some of the locations in high school. So some of the training could be done with no prerequisites. You really don't need a prerequisite to learn how to splice a fiber, other than the ability physically to do it. The higher end training, there's going to be a program that'll, allow them to do the entry level program and then move up as they are more successful. So they may not get all the way through it, but they could get to level 1, 2, and 3, and that'll allow them to, do certain things in the industry and then learn from there. So yeah, we'll have a comprehensive training curriculum, a schedule, set presets, for who should do it and who shouldn't. It's not going to be for everyone. You got to have an interest to be able to do this work. You can't solve the problem for somebody who doesn't want to learn or doesn't want to participate. It's for the kids and the adults that want to learn, that want to participate. You got to want it, or no one's going to do it for you. So this will give them the chance.
So my last question is, will these prerequisites be made available to the council so that they can in turns work with the schools, because Inkster doesn't have its own school district. So we need some information to make outreach to the schools that our students are in.
Yeah, so Jason's been having constant conference calls with the superintendents. We have a call scheduled with 10 of them. So we're going to educate them on the program, get their input, and we're going to make it work, because when you start this technology training at an early age in high school, it's natural for students and people to learn it. And that's how it becomes a part of your DNA, and that's how you become a super user, by doing it young. The younger, the better, in my opinion. When I grew up, we didn't have this kind of training. I had to join the Marines and go into naval electronic training things, and it was very strict, and they weeded you out if you couldn't do certain things along the way. And it was very hard to get this kind of training. So now, with the Nokia Training Institute, we have modules on the specific equipment. So a student could basically focus on one specific router, but that router scales to a bigger router, and then they'll understand the whole router line. And that whole router line could be in all the phone companies, and he has a job. He doesn't have to learn the rest of it. He could just learn the routers. Another guy could learn the fiber optic equipment, make a life of managing that. So these modules are well, developed. We do them. We train on a regular basis. We have the Nokia Training Academy we do throughout the world. We supplement it with virtual training. We have instructor training and hands-on training. But you can't oversaturate the classrooms or you'll water it down, so you have to effectively do it. And it's not cheap to develop, and you need good instructors. So Jason's been working with the University of Michigan and different universities around the area to recruit instructors. So we've got to train the trainer. So we can keep those trainers here, keep them on board, because you can't replace them overnight. So Jason has worked with every level of the community to make sure we have the right, trainers, the right curriculum, the right endorsements from the customers, from the companies. But more than that, it's got to be certification training, which allows them to have a certificate saying, I can do fiber optics, here's my proof. And that gives them the key to get the jobs.
All right, Mike, let's just because of sake for time, and thank you for flying in
No problem.
to be with us.
Thank you, Mayor.
The VP for Nokia, $36 billion corporation.
Thank you.
His name will be on this particular building in our community. So
I appreciate that.
So I really appreciate you coming out. Now, let's have one last question, and then we'll move forward.
I do not have
Or comment. Go ahead, ma'am.
my comment to you. We at Inkster know our community, and we have several nonprofits, which is doing the same thing, working with all 4 school districts. And each one of those nonprofits, they met last month. They are all ready to write proposals. And you wanted to know who I am. I'm Jessica Shelby, and I write proposals for the city of Inkster and the Inkster Public Schools. And all of it, we do have it on file, what we have done, and we have had programs. I have tried to meet with the mayor, so I took upon myself to get all of these organizations together, the nonprofits, and we met last month, and we doing proposals, and we ready to go. So now you need to see me.
Thank you.
Please.
My name is Connie Mitchell, and I am the co-chair of the Inkster Task Force. For a number of years, Mr. Dixon has been in our midst with this program that he has been setting up, and we applaud all the hard work he has done. However, I must clear the air about one particular thing. When it comes to the building that he wanted to purchase, the Inkster Task Force was very much engaged in doing business as business should be conducted. We asked Mr. Dixon on 3 different occasions to simply give us a purchase agreement. He never presented a purchase agreement. We are Black people trying to protect our city. We wanted the best business deal we could get, even though we fully applaud and still do what he was trying to do. But I did not appreciate the dispersion cast on the Inkster Task Force. When we got to the bottom line, we found out that he did not have the cash to buy the building. He was working on grants. And the grantor wanted us to get money in one 6-month period and the balance in another 6-month period. That is not the way business is conducted in this country, if you want to be on top. So unfortunately, he lost out on our building. We have vacated the building, but the owner is allowing us to use it for various and sundry things. But I really had to say that because I did not want the city to think that the Inkster Task Force tried to deep six this wonderful opportunity for our city. And I am very happy that he is moving on with Nokia and all the other players to make this a reality in the city. It is timely. It is time to do it. It is going to stand well for the citizens of our community. It will raise our economic level. It will improve our city, and so forth. But I just needed to make sure that the name Inkster Task Force stood in good stead in this city, so that you know that whatever we do by what is right and what we need to do in order to conduct business in a proper manner. Thank you.
Well, I got a lot I can say about that. However, Mike, thank you.
No, you're welcome,
All
Mayor.
right, Jason.
Thank you, everyone.
Come on up and tell us what your ask is. That way we can start to work on it and then bring it back before this body.
So the ask is, since we have all the things lined up and everything, is to donate the building so we can move forward, because we have, like Mike said, we've already spent money on directional drills to come in. And, since that didn't happen with the prior building, we already had things in process. So we want to continue that in a timely fashion to move forward.
How does that look when you say donate the building? What are we talking?
So we'll take like we've already been doing, remediation of the building. We've already removed the water that's there that costs some money. So we've already put a significant investment into the building, right, to show good faith. So we just wanted to make sure you guys knew that we were serious about it, right? So we did that. We've cleaned up the second floor. The second floor is all gutted out already. We did that while we was pumping the water out. This next phase that we're working on now is to get the rest of the garbage out of the building, which we're on our fifth 40-yard dumpster. So just imagine what that looks like. We saw some of the videos there. So we're taking on that responsibility to reduce that exposure to the city and still keep the Nokias, the Flag Stars on board with this vision. Well, and with the state. I mean, Councilwoman Agena knows how much we've been working with the state. Joel knows about how much we work with the state, putting programs together, having meetings. We've had meetings on every level, and they're supporting what we're doing. And we just want to make sure that the city that we're fighting for here to keep this going has some skin in the game too at this point, because things doesn't always fall out the way that it seems. I can see it went my way and someone else can see it their way. But at the end of the day, what we have done, and we had a news conference that a bank gave us $1 million to spend in your city. You understand where I'm coming from?
For sure. Go ahead, Councilwoman Washington.
I think you asked this already. What was the total amount to get the building going?
The total amount for us to move forward to get it done. So we probably got about $380,000 worth of remediation that we have to do, and then $500,000 that we have in equipment to order, that we already have the money to order that equipment that we're waiting on. So we have it frozen because of inflation. So we want to get that done in a timely fashion so we're able to move forward quickly. Because the way we had it set up, purchase the building that we were supposed to get, and boom, boom, move on. So now we're at a bottleneck, and we're not trying to,
Jason, this is a game changer for the community. I don't know if people see it or not. However, when you talk about smart cities, and the presentation that Mike gave us today was outstanding, and to have that opportunity in this city and to be a model, we cannot allow this to go to somewhere else. Because I know that, Highland Park is at the table, which is a good friend of mine, Mary Opp, and along with Carlton Clyburn, President Council over there. So I know that you're working with them. I know that you're working with the city of Detroit as well. But I see this just like Barton Cable in 1984 in the city of Inkster, when it was a 4-3 vote for cable here, and it was a packed room, and it's not in this council chambers, but I believe it was on Easter Road, and there was a lot of talk about cable and why do cable and all of that stuff, and Don Barton, of course, the founder of Barton Cable, native son of the city of Inkster, ended up being awarded the contract here in the city of Inkster to do cable. I think this is similar to that. At the same time, I believe that what you're doing is you're investing in the community as it relates to doing the training of our people to actually do it and pay us to do it.
Absolutely.
And then to build that out.
Absolutely.
It's going to create a halo effect as it relates to not only taking care of ourselves and creating job and industry within our community, because we have none. It's going to also attract industry in our community. And, I'm sorry, Troy, thank you. It's going to attract industry in our community. So, for me, it's a no-brainer. At the same time, the numbers are what they are. We need to, of course, work with that. We know that we spend money right now maintaining the building. Last year, I spent $20,000 just boarding the building up and cleaning it up from glass and debris and all that other type of stuff that was over there.
We actually took water out of the basement before we had the heavy rain last year. So, we've been working on it. We got to keep up insurance over there. The property's sitting there. Of course, the vision is to change it into a walkable area downtown. I would love to see the old city hall, this city hall, of course, go back to that area. However, with this opportunity, it's bigger than that. And we have to really open our minds to that and really understand what's happening right now. So with that said, again, because Mike, coming out, thank you so very much. I wish Beverly was here, but I know that they're working on that merger with New York Bank. I'm looking forward to us bringing back something to council for action. And we can talk about those things. I heard possibly a lease or purchase. We'll talk about those things and then, of course, bring it back to this body and, have an action item on the next council meeting.
Okay.
Okay? Unless anyone else has anything from this council. All right, then. Thank you.
Okay,
All right,
so
moving.
we're going to continue working to keep this goal going. So we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you. All right. All right, moving right into consent agenda.
So,
Support. Remove the properly supported.
Mayor,
Please, go
I
ahead.
have a correction.
Go ahead.
For the consent agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
In the closed session items, the last motion, that is not what happened. We didn't take any action last time. In fact, we even said in the meeting when she was reading it that we took no action on that.
Okay.
So
I
that
remember
needs
that.
to be corrected.
All right.
There's no action taken. Just to go in and out of closed session.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Boards and commissions going around. Anyone? Appointments for boards and commissions. All right, looking at the Parks and Recreation Commission, I just want to make sure that we're clear because Mayor Pro Tem, have you made your appointment to District 5 as of yet?
Ms. Shay,
You haven't?
no, she came up to me, Ms. Shay, let me get the last name on her.
And I'm not asking for your appointment, I just see that Ray Brown is in that appointment, and Ray Brown actually should have been in Antonio Wimberly's space as the
Okay.
council's appointment.
Okay.
So to finish out his day. So let's just make sure that we move that along. I just wanted to make sure I talked to you first.
Yes, I do have an appointment for it, but she's
Okay.
got to give her information to the city clerk.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Okay,
then
but I wanted to
once
make sure that was vacant, because if you look here, it says District 5, Ray Brown.
Right, it wasn't in there.
Exactly. I just wanted to make
Okay.
sure that you didn't do that.
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right, then. And then, just for point of clarification, Connie Mitchell in District 6, I thought we reappointed her because it says expired. Did we not? I can't remember that? Okay. All right, then let's move that forward. Let's move that forward. Is there a
So
motion?
move. Support, I'm sorry. Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion carries. All right. Right along. New business. City clerk, please.
Okay, item 9A
Mm-hmm.
is a discussion to approve the appointment of USI as the insurance broker of record for the city of Inkster.
All right. I know that you guys had a presentation from USI, and I was not here, so I see Durrell, you got your name on there. Would you like to speak on that? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, our viewing audience. Today, we're just here, I'm not here to give any opinion or anything on the matter, but I'm here to just share the information.
Okay.
So we have two insurance companies. We have one that we're currently with. And we have another insurance that would like to be broker of record. The insurance company that like to be broker of record I met with them, and they've shared some of their ideas and ways in which they can help better serve our city in terms of insurance. And, some of those issues I, can identify with. For one thing, we had a policy increase, as we all know, and there were some issues with that. In insurance, both companies are brokers, and they can only go out and solicit for insurance on our behalf. That's right. So they can only go out and solicit for insurance on our behalf. None of the brokers actually sell us insurance. So they have nothing to do with the premium that we receive, actually. But there are some things that an insurance broker can do to help mitigate those increases in premiums. One of those are preventive maintenance. So if we're, as a city, if we're taking preventive maintenance measures, that can look favorable for us. So when we're up for renewal, we get a better rate. That's something that hadn't been in place that the new company is proposing to do. The current company has recently put me in touch with a company that can provide those services for us. But at this point, we have to see what's going to happen for the next premium. These services haven't been provided in the past. I don't know why. I haven't been here that long to know why they haven't been provided in the past, but they're, putting them in front of us now. The proposing companies are saying that they can, make sure that we have these preventive maintenance measures in place so we don't run into these issues in the future. Another thing.
About risk management?
Yes, risk management. Yep. So
I know that, and let me just say this, I can't speak for, and the insurance broker record is here with all transparency. Just as it relates to that, are we talking about so the guys that we have now have a module for risk management that we have to go into as directors and administrators and that, and do certain things and certain triggers that trigger off.
Yep.
Is a new company doing something different from that? Because that would be actually on us.
Right.
As the city, to make sure that we're doing that, because we don't have monies to pay for a risk manager.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that we're clear. Just make sure we're clear on that. What's the difference in the two?
Well, the difference is, actually making it mandatory for the employees, making it mandatory for the city, making sure we do those things. So providing the information is one thing, to make sure that we do have access to those type of resources. But I think actually going through and following through with, going through those trainings is what's going to get us the better rates. So, again, I do have access to the portal that was provided to me by the current broker. And, I am right now looking at that, but it's coming to me now, and we've already, had a policy increase already. So I'm just, kind of,
Saying, well, why didn't it happen when we signed up?
yeah, and I wasn't here.
We signed up with them in 2017, so let's just say a little history on it. And Mr. Green, not to, just so we're having.
Yeah, because I wasn't here. I don't know.
In 2017, we signed with Long Insurance. So I don't know exactly what happened with the previous administration, but I know that me and Mr. Long had a chance to meet before COVID, and then, of course, COVID happened. So, it's just what it is, but ultimately, unless you're saying something different, where it's not going to cost us when we go with UCSI, USI, if they're going to give us something for free and make sure that they're managing that, then we got to make sure that we're not comparing that, because that's not apples to apples. We're talking about apples and oranges, then they're actually going to be providing that service. Mr. Long did, with all due respect, he did give us the module and say, okay, this is what you guys should be doing, but it didn't happen, right? So now we're here at this point, but we know it didn't happen because we really don't have the personnel and human resources overall because we don't have a risk manager. So So is the new company gonna provide a risk manager for us?
Risk
Yes.
management team.
Yes,
Management team, okay, so that's the difference, go ahead.
Yep, the new company is proposing to provide a risk management team. And I would like to know, as all of you should want to know, is what would they do different if they were in the situation that Long was in, where we had so much turnover and we didn't have employees, willing to do it on their own. How would you step in and make sure that these things are taken care of if we're not doing it on our own?
Correct, because when elections happen, of course, things shift. So we want to make sure that even with that, we gotta, you got next year, whatever it is, and the following year, maybe a new person sitting here at the helm and working in a new council. So we want to make sure that whoever we decide to go with, that we have those policies and procedures in place like we're working on as an administrative team to make sure no matter what happened, that we're here or not, that this business continues to run. So if they're saying that, then I didn't hear that I haven't heard that from Long now. So go ahead, I'm listening.
And then the other thing is just the communication piece with the TPA. The TPA is a third-party administrator that keeps records of all our claims. And when we went in for our new policy renewal, one of the issues that caused us to get a higher rate is that the insurance companies were claiming that they didn't have reports of some of the claims that we had out here, and that our TPA service didn't supply that information. So without having communication on a constant basis with the TPA and making sure that all of our claims are being reported, it can cause a problem like we have now.
Correct.
So that was an issue. The other issue is
Huge issue, actually.
And the other issue is being in a position to where we have to find an insurance agency at the in the last hour. Like the company we were with before, they were getting out of the business. There was notification that they were getting out of the business. And when it was time for us to renew, we were kind of, up against time, and we were almost rushed or forced to take what we ended up getting, which was a worse policy for more money. So those things are concerns. Now, again, the insurance companies, they're just brokers. The insurance company are going to actually give us the policy and give us the rates. But, those are some issues and some concerns and some things that happened and why we're in the position we're in now. And the new company is proposing to make sure that those things don't happen.
Now, as it relates to just the cost, is it a cost savings? Is that what we're talking about too overall?
Well, the only cost
savings, and I've spoken with USI when I first came into office. Those were one of the first people that I spoke to that prompted me to talk with Mr. Long and figure out what's going on. So I know that they had talked about, possibly some savings for the city. Have we got to those, or is that not possible? You got to go through shopping it out or whatever.
Yeah, they've identified some potential savings by speaking with some companies, I believe, in the workman compensation area. But again, we won't really see or know if we have any savings until we go out and solicit for a new policy. And so I think that the services that they're proposing are the same services that Mr. Long proposed, and that's to put us in a position so when we are going out for a new premium that we get a new policy, that we get a favorable premium. So we won't see any savings until we are up for renewal.
But the one thing I like that I heard was the risk management. Go ahead and talk about that a little bit, Councilwoman Wiley. You were saying.
Yeah, they have a risk management team. They also have a dedicated claims advocate for you. So there's somebody that's on site or can be on site within a short amount of time to look at your claim and see how you work about it. Now, as far as savings are concerned, they're giving you the same thing that Long has not been giving you for the same price. Because as you recall, we tried to put a risk management commission together.
Correct.
And Long came in and said they do risk management and that's their job to do. I have not seen them since that time, okay? So that's a clear sign to me that you don't do risk management, because we've had a number of things happen within the city where we needed that guidance, okay? So, and then as far as saving money, they have put in their scope of services that they believe that they can save you the TPA expenses by 20%. And they said that's outside the traditional unemployment responsibility. And they have been successful in cutting costs by more than 20% with other municipal and nonprofit organizations. So there is a savings there. But what I'm saying is I don't see where we've gotten what we're paying for with loan. So now I'm willing to spend a year to see if these people keep their word. And that's all we're doing, is we're changing a year. We're not paying a dime more. And at the end of the year, we can do like we do in with loan and say goodbye if they haven't kept their word.
All right. You have anything else to add, sir?
No, I don't.
Any questions from council for
Yes,
for the
I
treasurer?
have, yes.
Okay, with all due respect, let's go to Mayor Pro Tem first.
When we talk about risk management, and I've been here, this is my third term. You can have a risk management on site, but if our employees don't follow that, that's where we get in trouble. And I understand we can have a risk management here, and they can preach to us, preach to the City of Inkster employees, but if they don't go out there and do it, don't follow it, it's still no good. And we need risk management, don't get me wrong. But they said they will be able to. That's not be able to. Is that like 100% that they're going to be able to cut it by 20%?
Well, again, I'm not here to, make any type of judgment call, but again, everyone, can I just respectfully respond? If I'm trying to get someone's business, I'm going to say whatever I have to say to get your business. So I can't confirm whether that is a guarantee or not.
Okay, but now, from the administration point, you guys should be telling us your recommendation on this. Because you work with the insurance companies. Do you follow me?
Well, I recommend that we go with UCSI, but I know that I get a vote on it too. So
Right, but
if it's a tiebreaker
but
between
you have your treasurer saying he's not making an opinion, and he should by now be able to be confident in trying to sell it to us.
I'm not selling to you. I'm not here to sell to you. No, I'm just here to give you information about the both both companies. I'm not here to sell.
Exactly.
Anything else?
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, now with the TPA, that's still going to be a third-party service, right?
Well, they are.
Yes, sir.
All of them are.
Yes, sir.
So with them being a third party, now, how is that followed up with the modules and things that we put into risk management or the communication?
Well, third party has nothing to do with the risk management.
No, I'm not talking about risk management at all. But I'm saying we had no communication with the last TPA, right?
Well, I wasn't here the whole time that we were with them, but it's not that we didn't have communication with them. It's that they didn't report all of our losses and claims. So when we went out and started to look for other for insurance, new insurance, the insurance company was like, well, what about this? We found this claim, but your third-party administrator didn't tell us about it.
So that's where I'm going at, Mr. Reed, is that who's going to manage that? How is that going to?
Yeah, I brought that issue up to the new insurance company when I was speaking with them, and they said that they would be in constant communication with the third-party administrator to make sure that they would do a reconciliation, to make sure that everything that was on the third-party administrators and their information matched up with what they had. They would do constant reconciliations.
Okay, so there's on their end, they're going to do that. But is there going to be a backup system or backup plan to make sure?
Well, then that's with them actually working with our attorneys, because everything actually goes through our attorneys as well as it relates to exposure.
Okay, that's what. Okay, thank you, Mr. Reed.
Anything else? All right, call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
We didn't make a motion.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We never made a motion.
Oh, we didn't? Oh, I'm moving fast. Any motion?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Support?
Support.
Moving properly support. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Next issue.
Item 9. Item 9B is to consider approval to purchase one vacant parcel of land located on the east side of Henry Street between Chestnut and Beach for $1,000.
Your support?
Support.
Moved and properly supported. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair,
Please,
I
go
do
ahead.
have, on the checklist, it doesn't show whether or not if the applicant even lives here, or whether or not if they do live here, do they owe taxes? I know it's got, county, but that's not saying city taxes or water. It doesn't have that on there, on the checklist, on any of the checklists that we are voting on tonight.
They were all checked.
Sis, you got to speak up, City Clerk.
According to our project manager, Ms. Jennings, they were all checked and.
Okay, but see, it's not checked in with
Okay,
with
I
this.
will.
I mean, I see
I don't know.
a number, you know, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is a check.
City,
but-
county up to date, yeah, that's a check mark. So all of it, yeah, all
So,
of it.
is this a check mark right here? This
Yes.
one's going down?
Yes,
So they saying that they don't owe anything?
yes. And
Okay,
then-
now, we used to get the applicant's, address or whatever, so that's not being done anymore?
You want the applicant's
I'm just,
address?
well, no, it used to be on there. It used to be on.
They were at one time
Yeah,
sending.
okay, so this is a new form?
They were sending a copy of the person's driver's license and found that to be risk adverse.
Okay, because this is a new form, all right, I yield.
Yeah, the checklist is not new, but I think just leaving out the person's
Driver's license, copy of their license.
in the packet, right, because I remember they did do that before.
Okay.
But yeah, all other things are actually here on the checklist if you go down here. It says taxes, city and county up to date.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? I just have a motion carried.
Item 9C, discussion, possibly action to consider approval to purchase 2 vacant parcels of land located on the east side of Allen Street between Carlisle and Andover for $2,500.
What's your pleasure?
So moved. Or support.
Okay, before that, I just want to make sure that we stay consistent, because we did say $1,000 for non-buildable, and then $1,500 for buildable. So even if you combine the two together and you can build on them, they should be coming in at $3,000. They side by side. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing I want to just make note of for you all, just because, again, you know, it's 2 ways to skin a cat. You can say, oh, one of them's non-buildable, the other one's buildable, but actually, if they're side by side, in this case, side by side, they both should be $3,000.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting that out there.
These 2 lots, it's right behind that, building, Allen Supermarket.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, this is just not coming to council?
Yeah, this is a different one.
I mean, they would go there, I think they clean that whole lot.
That's a good thing. I'm pushing everybody to clean everything in Inkster, so anybody clean everything.
What I'm saying, I'm just saying.
You said they've already took ownership of
Already
it.
purchased it.
No, they haven't. Who they
So
purchased it
should we
from?
change it?
They got to purchase from us. Just because they were over there clean, because they understand the value of their property in the surrounding area. So they own the property right there in the store location already.
I understand all that, Mr. Mayor. What I was indicating was, when it was clean, I thought they'd already purchased it.
They would have to come before this body to purchase it. They were just being good neighbors. So I thank them for that. Okay. So what's your pleasure?
I mean, Mr. Chair.
Any other discussion?
You made mention about they already cleaned a lot up, right? And so.
Well, I didn't make mention of that. I just said that they've been over there cleaning. They've been cleaning all around the building over there, which is good, because it hadn't been done in years over there.
So with that being said, that they put a little bit of skin in the game. But if it satisfied my colleagues, I can amend the motion.
I'm just saying that I actually like what you're saying, and I think that's right. It should stay at that price. I'm just saying I know you're not, sir. And I'm just saying that we want to make sure we just put that on record and then say why we would be able to, why we're doing that. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to sell it all.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, I just wanna make sure that that's noted.
Yeah. Exactly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, point of clarity, please?
Yes, please, go ahead.
So we're selling this for this price, we're leaving it here.
Yes.
But for future reference, it'll be 15, right?
Right, it should.
And it's because they have done some improvements on the property.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm saying. Okay? Yeah. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Next one, please.
Item 6D is to consider, 9D, is to consider approval to purchase one vacant parcel located on the east side of Inkster Road between Stanford and Colgate Streets for $1,000.
What's your pleasure?
So moved.
Is there support?
I got a question on this one.
Discussion.
Okay, it said between Colgate, on Inkster Road, between Colgate and Stanford. There's two houses there, and then there's one property already that has been bricked around it. Now, where is this property located? I mean, I'm just. Yeah.
Thought I had a big map in here.
All right, the property they buy is the one that's bricked all the way around.
Let me see here.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Cause I thought when that brick stuff occurred, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
No, you're fine, because I was saying the same thing, I just forgot to check it
I
out.
understand she passed away.
Okay.
Okay, now I ain't seen no more property, but on the other side, maybe over there by Stanford, it's an empty lot there. So I'm just trying to picture out where is this located.
So is it between Lehigh and Stanford?
We want to have clarity on it because I was thinking, actually asked the same thing. What's your, Stephanie?
I just pulled the map up.
I want to make sure that I'm not out of order. Let me see.
Well, can somebody here that's handling it can tell you whether or not?
She's actually on the line right now. She's.
Ask her whether or not that's the one that's probably been bricked up.
She's on the line
It's a
right
vacant
now.
parcel though, right?
It's her driveway.
Yeah.
It's her driveway. It's her driveway.
That's what the vacant parcel is?
Yes, that's what these parcels are. She said it's her driveway.
Driveway brick.
I thought the driveway was paved already, because they got about 12 cars in the driveway.
She got, both of them properties got driveways. I'm trying to figure out what kind of driveway they talking about. You know?
They already had driveways.
Maybe she can answer that.
Hold on one second.
I think it's in here somewhere.
Hold on one second. She's online right now.
The only vacant property is like Lehigh, where they were gonna have
Right,
that
that's what I
Family
said.
Dollar.
Yeah.
We'll find out right now.
Between Lehigh and Stanford.
Right in front of her
Okay,
lot.
what is it?
It's right in front of it. It's a small parcel mixed up in front of the house. And they didn't realize that until the end that they was missing one little small parcel right in front of their house. So it's really part of their house in front of their driveway. Right in front of their house.
So they've been utilizing it all the time, but it's just owned by the
Yes, and
city.
they thought they owned it until we discovered that a little slither in front of their house is a small lot that they didn't realize they didn't have as part of their parcels until they went up to City Hall and talked to Mario, and Mario told them to contact us so they can get their property.
All right, state your name for the record.
My name is Stephanie Taylor from Maurice Real Estate Services.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Next issue, please.
So the next one is 9E, and that's to consider approval to purchase 2 vacant parcels located on the west side of Isabel Street, north of Michigan Avenue for $3,000.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved and properly supported. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Next issue, please.
9F is discussion to approve a special event permit application submitted by Unity in the Community for a Juneteenth celebration from June 17th through 19th of 2022 at Brookside Park from 11 a.m. until 8 each day.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Support.
It's been moved and properly supported. Brookside Park is commonly known as Malcolm X Park. So it's right off of Carlisle. It's for everyone in attendance and the general public. And we're looking for everyone to participate and to come out and celebrate Juneteenth in our community. It's been going on now. The celebration led by CUP has been going on now for at least, I believe, 3 years. I believe this is their 35 years. Oh, there you go back there. You want to step up and talk about it? No, you good? Okay. Tangela Ward has been leading the charge on that, so we want to continue the support for that event. And I know it's other celebrations going on in the community as well, which is great. We want to definitely make sure that, and know that you have the city support. This is going to be the event for everybody, and there's going to be other little pocket events that people have been doing. So I understand that. There's been other people doing Juneteenth events, and not saying anything against their events. We want to support them as well, but we know that the city's going to be partnering with Tangela Ward to do that, Commissioner Ward from the Beautification Committee. All right, any other questions or comments? Go ahead,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wiley.
Also, could we have it read into the record that they're asking for the waiver of fees? I don't think that was read, so.
Right, for the-
So the public knows and we all know too.
For the special events permit.
Right.
Correct, because they will need support from DPW to block the street off and all that other type of stuff, right?
Well, yeah, DPW, the police, and fire have all the appropriate departments have approved this application.
Okay. Is it gonna be on the street at any time, or is it just gonna be in the park itself?
In the park.
Okay. Okay, I just know that, okay, so you got the school across the street, so parking and all that stuff, okay, probably some guards across and all that good stuff. We're looking to pack it out, so it should be good. Okay. Anything, yes, Mayor Pro Tem? Turn your mic on, please, Mayor Pro Tem.
So they're asking to waive the fee. Now, here's my question. If we get other people coming in here, they want to do special events, what are we supposed to do?
Because we're the body that make the decision.
No, but I'm
make
just
the
saying, but we
decision.
need to be consistent in what we do.
No doubt, but that's why we make the decision.
Yeah, but if that's
You know
not, well, okay.
I mean, it's a
Well,
community event.
I mean,
so-
it's a community event, but,
Right.
you know, we have people that have events at the picnics,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at our parks, and they have asked for waiver,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't do that. So I just want to just make it clear to the body that, you know, if we're going to start something, we should be consistent in what we do.
Correct, I get it, but again, we are the body, and that's why we
Okay,
make
well-
the decision, so it's going to the vote right now, so the body say no,
All right.
but you made your comment, so anyone else have any other comments? Go
One
ahead.
more thing,
Please go ahead,
in the
Councilman.
packet, it asks, will any food be prepared? And there's nothing listed.
Oh, I'm pretty sure food's gonna be up there for sure, I would
Well,
hope so, we talking about Juneteenth.
Well, I'm just saying that,
Okay.
you know, it doesn't say it so here,
Okay.
so if they would like to add yes to that.
All right. So duly noted, let's make sure that we do that.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
All right, ayes have it, motion carries. Next issue, please.
Item 9G is to authorize the administration to accept a bid of $136,886.96 from Traffic and Safety Control Systems to purchase and install speed humps with appropriate signage in 116 locations throughout the city and authorize the administration to use proceeds from the Consumers Energy Project to fund the award.
What's your pleasure?
So, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Move the properly supported discussion.
Yes, I'd like to,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
well, she can go.
Go
She
ahead.
can go ahead.
Councilman
So I
Washington.
had a question, so the 80,000 that we supposed to be receiving, what year was that for next year, correct?
It'll be October 2023, the state grant that we received.
Okay, so with those funds, because we're using these funds for the road bumps, if, we agree to this, then the 80,000 that's coming down the pipeline, do we have to use that specifically for speed bumps, or do we use that for other things in the general fund, or if we need it?
No, it's for speed humps.
Okay.
So, go
So we'll
ahead.
have a total of how much with the other 80,000 and then 130,000.
You saying how many more additional ones that we could have?
Yes.
And of course, we would have to go back out for bid with that.
Okay.
So, what you would think, just doing the math, you probably could get another 50, 60? Would you say that, Mr. Bivens?
Yeah, you're correct. Well, between 50 and 80.
Excuse me.
Okay. So would that be enough, you think, to cover ground, I guess, in regards to the speed humps, with the total amount with the next year's cost and this year, if we plan to do this?
No. No. Yeah, Mr. Bivens, I see you over there contemplating, even thinking about how to answer that. The answer is no. So let me just say right off, you may get, in the city of Inkster, you may get 60 to 70 locations as it relates to streets, as you're building this thing out, because some that have been requested through PD are, the streets aren't as long, so you may have just one in the middle, but other streets are longer, so you're gonna have two, how you set them up. Of course, it'll be a survey that'll be done with what we're doing, and then, come to this body and we should have another community discussion if that's the case, because we've heard both sides of it where, people are saying, yeah, we want speed humps. But then other people are saying, no, we don't. We want speed humps because it's going to tear our cars up. It's going to do this, going to do that. However, we know that already people are driving fast through the community. It's just something about the air. They want to roll their windows down, turn their music up, and hit the gas and speed from stop sign to stop sign. Is just utterly ridiculous. So one of the things that we're doing is working with Kim Worthy's office, Prosecutor Kim Worthy, Wayne County Prosecutor, that working with the Chief of Police, that any ticket that's issued for speeding in the city of Inkster will be considered drag racing. And the prosecutor will actually go after those that particular way to help reduce that and mitigate that a little bit. Go ahead, Councilwoman Washington, you still have the floor.
Definitely.
Sorry.
For now.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Howard, then Councilman Williams.
For me, this is a great program, but for me, I would like to wait for us to get our budget and our audit before we make a commitment to spend the extra $100,000. Because we don't know what's coming down. We don't know what's coming down the pipeline for our budget, and our budget is in a month. So for me, I would rather see our budget, a final number on our budget, and our audit. Now, prior to us getting the grant, we could never afford speed bumps. And all of a sudden, now we got $100,000. Okay, now, we can afford it. But I think we can utilize, me personally, we probably can utilize that money on something else. Because I know we might have a shortfall in the police department or the fire department. So I just would like my colleagues to just take that into consideration. We are getting ready to do budget talks. And for me to spend $100,000 without even knowing what's going on, that would be kind of, to me, that's not, I think we can hold off. Because our budget talks, we have to approve the budget by May, next month. And that's gonna tell us, once Plant Moran and the treasurer come and give us a presentation of what our finances really look like, I think we should keep that $100,000 in our general fund. And if we do have some overage after the budget is approved, then we revisit this. But for me, I would like to see what our actual fund balance is gonna be from the presentation from Plant Moran and our treasurer. And once we approve the budget, if we got an extra $100,000, because we still have, to deal with the police and the fire, and we know we're gonna have some shortfalls, and we're gonna have some budget amendments that, and you looking in your reports, stuff has been going over that was not approved in the past, in last year's budget. So I just don't want, speed bumps is good, I'm not just saying that the program is not, but we are getting a grant that's gonna be here in end of this year, first of next year. I think for me, and I'm a yield, I just wanna see what my budget, my final fund balance is gonna be looking like, because I don't wanna spend no extra money if we don't have to. And we have 1 month, so I think we can hold off for 1 month until we approve the budget and get our audit, hopefully. And I yield to the floor.
All right, Councilman Williams. You want to go back to Councilman Washington before?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to see what it was, Mr. Mayor. Did you see the letter that was sent to us by the Block Club? They wanted to put out speed bump?
Yes.
Okay, what was your decision of that? Because I got a letter.
Yeah, I did.
Karen carried to me that they wanted to do the project. And I thought we had, somehow they got I guess somehow they got it, well, they couldn't do it, or whatever.
Yeah, I know we had discussed that. Attorney Jones or either one of you guys want to talk about that as it relates to, which one you got?
As it relates to what?
The speed humps and why the Block Club couldn't purchase them and install them.
Well, yeah, because we would be liable for the installation of them. The public roads, if there's an accident on the road, we've already been hit with regard to litigation from individuals just walking on Inkster roads. We're liable for any accidents that occur pursuant to statute. So, having a private organization install them and
They don't want to install.
But they want to pay for them, they want to give us the money. They want to give us the money, then have us install them, and then we reimburse them at a later time. Is that possible?
Well, I communicated a response when I looked at it. Let me find it there, give me a second.
Okay.
After I looked into it months ago.
Okay. I mean, because that would kind of be like a fundraiser, then that's the case, but at the same time, we would have to reimburse them. Because that's what they're asking for, reimbursement if we received any grant monies or anything like that.
And then I don't think they asked them to put down the speed bump. They just think they just wanted to.
They want to pay for them and be reimbursed when we get it.
There's not really a mechanism though for the city to receive that money though. So if they have the funds to purchase it, where do you put that money? What do we, from an accounting perspective, put that money in? How do we receive that money from a private entity? That's not what the city is in the business of doing. And I spoke to it, but I'll get the email and jump back to that answer.
David Jones, is your mic on?
It says it is. On the other side of this.
Oh, okay, some other side. Okay. All right, Councilwoman Washington, you want to chime in on that?
I just kind of want to piggyback off Councilman Williams. I know what Councilwoman Howard stated, that with the $100,000, you may want to wait for the budget, but at the same time, we have, the Block Club that's been really diligently for the last 2 years been wanting these speed humps. And they've been denied to place them themselves. But also, we even go as far as paying for them. So I'm trying to figure out, maybe even with the $80,000 that's coming in, maybe we can reimburse it that way down the line or something, but.
Mr. Bivens shaking his head, and I know people can't see you shaking your head, but come on and approach and tell them why.
Can't do that.
He's our authority for all of our roads in the city. That's our director.
You can't take federal money. That's federal money coming to us from the feds. You can't take that and give it to a private company. That money's designated. I have to give them a plan. I have to show them everything what I'm doing. They're gonna put the bids out and everything. Explain to the mayor. And we gonna get them put in. But I can't take federal, I can't go back to them and say, I want to take this money and reimburse a private company. They won't allow me to do it.
What's the earliest you are we expecting, I guess?
October.
October?
As soon as they new fiscal year start. We're in the process now. There are steps that we had to go through. Yeah, there are steps that we had to go through to secure this money.
So Mayor, I have the site that I sent the email back on November of 21. And the issue was the fact that under Internal Revenue Code Section 170, local governments such as Inkster, we have to follow IRS guidance as it relates to written acknowledgement of any charitable donation of $250 or more. And so, not being an accountant, I indicated that we need to check with our accountants, Plant Moran, but I don't think we can accept a donation of $250 or more, because we're not a charitable foundation, we're a local government. And that's it. I sent that email on November 15th.
I remember you addressed it.
Yeah, I shared it with the company.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, even though they can't donate the money, the question that I would have then, okay, because we all submitted, I know we all submitted places that we wanted speed bumps. I'm just wondering, were they included, the speed bumps that they're talking about, was it included also into it?
In the grant?
Okay.
Everybody was sent the letter that I received, the award letter, and there were all the locations that the police gave me that I submitted to the state.
Yeah. And I'm not, go ahead.
Can we get a copy of the streets they're talking about, Mr. Mayor? I know we submitted them, but no one gave us a copy of
Yes, you have.
I've given you several copies.
It's in our emails.
Yeah, multiple copies.
He's had me send it out many times, yes.
I'll make sure I get you.
Okay, so you saying that we got an email saying the streets that they're gonna do?
Yes, sir.
All of it, yeah, I'll be to get it.
Okay, I'll make sure you get that. Councilman Chisholm? And
Yes.
Councilman Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just, I do understand the urgency for the speed bumps, and we spoke on this before when it got taken off the agenda and, brought back before us. And at that time, even then, I was just talking about not spending all of the money because we do have, as my colleagues have alluded to and you yourself, other things that we have to care for and we don't know what's coming down the pipeline. And I know a lot of times with DPS and infrastructure, we do things in phases. And so I'm still, I would be in favor of doing it in phases. That way we can appease the citizens and slow down speeders in the community, but then still have some type of cushion with a couple of dollars, as we move forward. So when the budget is coming up, we know where we are, things of that nature, and we won't have Brian sitting before us saying, well, you got $100,000 from consumers and then you spent it all on speed bumps. Because that's, how he presents the facts to us. So that's all I had to say in regards to that. I am in support of the speed bumps, just not in support of spending all of the money at this time.
Okay. All right, Councilman Shaw?
I'm definitely in support of speed bumps. I mean, we definitely need, I think we need to do something, Mr. Chair. I mean, we got this $100,000. It could have been just a wash. I mean, we could exchange it. What I mean by that is that exchanging each service that Consumer Energy is giving us the speed bumps. This is how I'm looking at it. So they've given us the dollars to be able to do it. So we can utilize those dollars to the full extent and be able to have something, do something with it. I mean, the budget's gonna come. We're always looking at the budget and what we're gonna try to save and what we're trying to do with it. But we do need something solid that we can be able to say, we got this thing done. And it also saved lives as well, because on Linwood Street, I mean, they don't even stop at the stop sign. It's like stop signs are not even there. And accidents do happen. I have kids that can't even really play ball or do anything in the front because you know, you just got people that just, literally just, I mean, driving through. I mean, to me, I want to appeal to my colleagues, let's get something done. In other words, let's save lives, so to speak. Because, I mean, it is ridiculous, you know, to see and to hear it. All the times of the day, all times of the weekend. I mean, it's going to even get a little, to me, I think it's going to get even worse. As time keeps going on, it's going to get worse and worse. We have to stop something at some times. I mean, we're bleeding. We know we're bleeding. We've been bleeding. You know what I mean? So we need to do something, have something done. You understand? So that's what I'm at. I don't want to see no more kids get hit. I don't want to see no more cars running up and down the street, hitting people's poles and tearing people's porches up and houses up and what have you. I don't want to see that. So I'm definitely in favor of the speed bumps. And I hope that we can do something. Because as you may mention, there may be other members that may serve on these seats. But we can say that we did at least get something done. And that's all.
All right, thank you, Councilman Shaw.
So, yeah, I was gonna see, I mean, cause, I think we all kind of in agreement, I don't know if we all in agreement, but I'm in agreement with both, Chisholm and, Shaw. Now, are we gonna, I mean, can we be able to make a motion for a partial of the funds to be able to be spent on the speed bumps instead of 100,000?
Yeah, now, here's the thing, like, even with doing the 116, right, you're gonna miss somebody, or you're gonna miss something,
So we still getting 80,000 in October, correct?
That 80,000 is already committed.
Right, that's already committed.
We got the streets.
Right,
So
so
what
we
the
had those
mayor
streets
is saying,
identified.
the mayor is saying, in this request, there was 116 locations identified from the police. Everything I have comes from the police to identify this. He's saying if you cut it, how do you determine where they go? Who's for priority and who's not a priority? And then somebody feelings gonna get hurt, somebody gonna get left out, and we're gonna be going through this. It's gonna be, I mean, at some point you have to say, hey.
You ain't never lied, everybody's not gonna be satisfied.
Right. And at some point, sure. I'm just
But
saying.
at the same time, what we don't wanna do is put ourselves in the pickle where we say, okay, we're gonna do the north side, and then something happens on the south. It's like, okay, so, but let me say what I am in favor for.
You get the money from the north side.
Let me say what I am in favor for, because I think it makes sense. Now, the one charge that I've given myself is to go out and figure out how to raise revenue in the city of Inkster. So that $100,000 came from me working with Mr. Bivens and the city of Westwind to say to consumers, come into Inkster and lease this space from us for right now, because it was underutilized and it had some efficiencies as it relates to whole sinkholes over there. You know, so they put a lot of money in there too as well. So they gravelled it out. They've actually improved the property. So when it comes back around in December, when we take back possession of the property, we can then in turn, fish it to other people, which I've been already doing that, because we need to create industry in the city. We need to create other sources of revenue. So the 100,000, when we say, okay, yep, the 100,000 was never budgeted for in this budget. And I totally understand that, because at the end of the day, we should have a surplus. We should actually have 16% of our general fund all the time, which we do not. So we should be building towards that. And I get it. So what I would be amenable, and I would ask this body to do, and to the general public, I understand that we all want to do what's right for our city. I'm working with the chief of police, also working with our auxiliary. We can start really formulating, with your help, each one of the council members sitting here with your block clubs in your respective districts, working on getting us some patrols going. We have 1-800-SPEAK-UP. We have C-Click-Fix as it relates to if you see somebody speeding, get the color of the car, the license plate, whatever it is. Even if we just got to go over and do a friendly knock on the door, we know that we can't necessarily give them a ticket that way, right? Lebo, you got to actually catch them in the act, right? Police,
there are
right?
certain things that you can witness during citation for speeding.
So, but at the same time, we know is people that we know in our neighborhoods, because they're leaving out their driveway and speeding through the neighborhoods. So for us as a community to start to work with one another and galvanize one another, I think that's the first approach that we take while we're going through the budget process. Because like Mayor Pro Tem Howard said, you know, we're looking at, you know, PD, you know, this strapped. We went from 2013 from 77 officers in the city of Inkster to 28, and people tell me all the time, don't say that, don't say that. Well, I gotta say it because we need the community involved. We had 26,000 people in the city of Inkster. That's not even one officer for 10,000. I mean, sorry, for, 2,000. Think about that. We need your help. We gotta police ourselves. We gotta start standing up. We gotta start saying, hey man, stop that speeding on this street. You know who they are. I know who they are. So I think that's the first step, and we gotta continue that. The other part is that we do have to be stewards of the money. That's why we're sitting here, right? So if we're gonna spend half of the money that we got right now, say the 50,000, because we sold the ice ring for 200,000, I ain't asked y'all for that money, but that wasn't in the budget that we planned, but I knew that we need to put it towards our bottom line. So we know that we're working towards creating revenue by selling these properties. We got a lot of properties off our books, these $1,000 and all that, they're actually turning into revenue because they're becoming part of the tax base, where the city's not owning this property. We got 1,000 vacant lots in the city of Inkster. We want you to have them. So we can put them on the tax roll, and then we can start doing our stuff that we can actually do. But we do have to start strategically planning for major projects. We can't just say we don't do nothing. That's not our only job, just to watch the money. It's for us as a body to say, this is the vision of the city, and these are the projects that we need to put in place, and how we're gonna go about funding them. I'm here to get out there and work, and I'm willing to do the work, as long as we're willing to work together. So I'm asking this body to, let's table this issue for right now. We got a month, like you said. The budget action, we're gonna have our budget hearings coming up, Darryl, what are we doing? 10th, 11th, and 12th?
I can't hear it. You said what dates?
We're proposing, what is it?
We would like to propose the 10th, 11th, and
Next, not this week, coming up next week of May.
10, 11, 12.
Right, you know, we sent you out an electronic version, and let me say this, and I know how y'all gonna get on.
I can't do the 11.
Okay, we'll figure it out, but I know how y'all gonna get on me. I sent you an electronic version because I wanted you to have it May the 1st, okay? So we're gonna get your binders. And binders, the numbers may change a little bit just because in relation to the mayor's recommended budget, I'm looking to see how we can massage, pull back, or whatever, and then bring to you, working with, you know, our treasurer to make sure that we're bringing you real numbers. Okay?
You can carry around on this. I can't do the 11.
Okay, all right, but we'll figure it out. But what I'm saying to you all, if you would be willing to, because we know we have to have speed bumps. We need them. I'll be working. I'm sorry, sir?
No.
Yeah. So I'll be working. I mean, you're talking about 2 weeks, because we're going to, you know, the budget we're going to approve coming back. We have to approve it by the 16th, I think it's of May, and then we can have it on that same night if that's the case, where we're actually looking at the numbers and we say, yeah, we can't afford to do this, or this is how we're going to get it done. And we come back and we actually talk with one another to where we say, okay, we're only going to spend $50,000. How does that $50,000 look, and where are they going to go? Then we can present it to the community. If that's not fair, let me know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Go ahead.
But also, when we get into budgets, monies are lost, so to speak. And nothing ever gets done with the project. I know we're gonna have the 80,000 that's gonna come, but something needs to be done with this, I believe, right now.
I don't think so.
Right now.
The question is this, so you call for it.
Mr. Chair, can I?
That's saving lives to me, you understand? And that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
We've been in this situation before. I've been in this situation before. I've seen it. I've seen that money's just disappear. You know, it just budgets on into the budget, and then we talk about 2 or 3 years later, standing here at the podium, what happened to that money?
True.
Just the same as when we paid off those meters. You know, where did that money go? So, you know, we have to do something right now.
Okay.
We appreciate the money being raised and it came, so let's do something with it.
All right, then, I mean, you made the motion, go ahead, Councilwoman.
You know, when you say the money, we have been through a consent agreement, you and I don't know what happened, but hold on. But for the record, DTE didn't give us $100,000 and say, hey, get some speed bumps, did they?
No, they paid
Okay,
for at least
okay.
the property.
So I'm asking, I mean, you guys can do what you want to do. I'm not, but from a budget standpoint, and I've always been a budget numbers person, I don't want to see my city back in a hole. And from what Plant Moran told us last budget, we have to start cutting. And I don't want to have to cut a police department, and I don't want to have to cut a fire department. I don't want to have to do that. But a month is not going to make or break us in these speed bumps. I want to make sure that our budget is okay. That's all I'm asking. So, I mean, I can't persuade anything. That's my vote. I want to see that budget. And that audit. We have not seen the audit. Our audit was due December of last year. We have not gotten it yet. We don't know what's going on.
You got that right.
So if y'all want to spend money, y'all can. I'm not going to do it.
What's going on with that, girl? I mean, what are they saying? 'Cause I know we didn't give them everything. Go ahead.
You gave them everything, but you get it to them late.
How late? I mean, we've been talking about this for 3 months.
This 6 months past due.
Oh, yeah.
We've been talking about this for 3 months, and you gave it to them 90 days ago almost.
I understand.
Okay.
But again, as me being a CPA, I understand what an audit entails, and it entails a lot of work.
Okay.
When you have so much turnover in the city, you can't get the information that you need to do your job, because they have license. They're not gonna jeopardize their license for us.
Okay.
And so when they need everything, they need everything. And when you're months behind and giving them documentation, by the time you get it to them, now they're gonna sit back and say, okay, we got everything we need. We gotta give us some time.
That's right. Okay, well, that's good, because I know you're an auditor, so fearing it from you, I totally get it. All right, let's do this first. Councilwoman Wiley, did you have anything to add to the discussion as it relates to the speed bump?
Yes.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I was going to ask, I've seen some people donating to some of the festivals we have around here. And one was just given to us with a rather large amount. Is this some money that we could take and put with the speed bumps? Because this has already been earmarked for something, and we're only talking about, I think I saw 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah. And there are other people that donate to the summer festivals we have. And there's
That's the thing. One thing about our community, and that's why we're really trying to work on, is that we all hit the same pot of money with people. And it's kind of tough to say, okay, well, take it from the summer festival, so then you say we're not going to have a summer festival, or what are you saying?
I'm just saying that there's all kinds of things. And as you recall, I think it was two budgets ago, the cannabis industry was supposed to give us $300 and some odd thousand that we never got. Can we go back to them?
We can, because I know COVID really dampened all of that in that conversation.
So that was something they promised that they never came up with. So if we can go back to them and maybe get the money from there. Because I understand what everybody's talking about. And there's nobody in this room that's going to say, no, let's not get speed bumps. That's not going to happen. Everybody knows it's necessary. Like I said, all we're trying to figure out is how to do it economically. Now, maybe we can't. We accept that. But before we go into that arena, we want to make sure that we've exhausted every possibility of obtaining this money so that we can do it. And I think these extracurricular people around here are a safe bet to get that, especially since they've made promises they haven't kept in the past.
Yep, I agree, 100%. I know that we're getting $112,000 for state share revenue as it relates to taxes for the revenue produced from marijuana, so maybe that's something that we...
There you go.
So I'm with that 100%, that can come out, and that's why I said I'm amenable and understanding we have to have speed bumps in our community. I'm with Councilman Shaw, I'm ready to jump off the diocese. However, we have to make sure that at the end of the day, being so close to our budget discussions, that, you know, it makes financial sense overall. And then we're putting it out to the community now. Everyone know what the charge is. Everyone know what the charge is. And you may have a rich uncle or something. Maybe they want to donate $1 million for speed bumps in the city of Inkster, because it is a public safety issue.
Or the mayor can give up his salary then.
That's true. That's true, don't worry. That's coming. That's definitely coming, 100%. All right. The question is being called for.
I thought we were gonna table.
I asked the table, but the maker of the motion.
Oh, I see.
Said he would call for the question.
I mean, you know, I hear my colleagues. So I would definitely, it's hard. But, you know, you wanna look at this budget, I want, and then I can see it coming down the road, but I will make the motion to take, to.
Okay, is there support for that? Support. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right, moving right along.
2 weeks.
We're coming into our budget discussion. We're gonna be on that next week.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we're gonna get on that next week. We'll let the treasurer talk about that in a little bit.
You get y'all headache for
All right, this brings us to the part for general participation. We actually, if you approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes to address the body, and because of the lateness of the hour, we will be sticking to that with all due respect to everyone that's here tonight. So if we could start, Jesse Shelby. Well,
It was a long night.
Yes, ma'am, start that clock, please.
Okay, I'm here to represent 23,918 residents of Inkster. Last month, Chisholm was there. I had a workshop for nonprofit and those that want to be a nonprofit on proposal writing and how to do grants and how to get their nonprofit. Because Ms. Shelby has been doing grants since 1985 for the city of Inkster and its public schools. So I told all the young people at the age of 86, the Lord gave it to me and I'm passing it on to them. He didn't give it to me to keep. So I'm trying to train them to do proposals and to get their nonprofit because I can't do it anymore. We have 6,836 children in our city. Those children need a place to go, and I'm here tonight to let you know, I have heard that the city of Inkster is going to let Dearborn Heights take over our complex, the Booker Dozier complex on Millbelt. If I write grants, I'm saying for the city of Inkster and to put programs at the complex and it get funded and Dearborn Heights take over the complex, that means we nonprofit have lied. So I want to know from the city of Inkster, is Dearborn Heights taking over the Inkster complex?
No. No. Oh, I'm sorry. No. It hasn't even been talked about.
No discussion of that?
No.
Okay.
Now let us continue because she only got 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. So you're saying that we as nonprofits can continue to write grants because each nonprofit that was at that workshop, Chisholm was there. Our representative that's here tonight, he sent a representative because he had told us that he would help us, and I had been working with him to get money from the state. Okay. So I'm not here asking for, I'm here for us to try to get these young people to do nonprofits and to write grants. And I'm willing to train them, and we have started. We met at the at the Inkster Library on the 5th of last month, and you can tell them, update them on how it went.
When is the next date?
Beg pardon?
When is the next date?
I'm not setting a date till I hear from this council
Oh, okay.
for us to go forward
Yeah.
in the training, because the complex is where we put programs for the students, the children.
Okay.
And if someone else going to be over it, I'm not giving no Dearborn Heights money.
Okay.
This is for Inkster only. And all of you know what I have been doing for this city and how many grants I have written, because the task force started under the city of Inkster.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so very much.
Okay?
And we will follow up with you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Lois, is it Lewis? Lewis Webster? Sir, please.
Councilman, Mayor, and City. I'm here because of some property that I owned at Somerset and Harrison. I've been going through this problem for about 20 years for this person riding motorcycles and terrorizing the community. And I was over there last Friday, and I see where he had brought in heavy equipment and run roads through the back of Cherry Hill High School, part of my property, and it was a vacant lot. I think the person lost the vacant lot, but he has made mounds and roads through there, and if I've been to the Inkster Police and the code enforcement, one time I've been there 50 times. Mm-hmm. And I can't see how the city can let this one individual come and terrorize a neighborhood where he's riding through driveways, between houses, et cetera, and I'm saying it's about time out because somebody gonna catch a case.
Okay, and I do have the information. Is your address the one that's listed here? Okay, and is this the individual in question that you have listed there as well?
Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect then. And then if you could, please just share your phone number with Officer Lebo. If you can get his phone number, and we'll follow up with him. All right, thank you so much, sir. Lucius White? Lucius, step out. Inkster, turnabout. Okay, this was a gentleman that was concerned about speed bumps in the city. We'll follow back up with him. Commissioner Gabe Henderson? Start that.
Good evening, family. I'm here. I want to talk about the beautification program. We'll be starting up May the 21st. That gives us a good solid week that we can do some real good serious cleaning before Memorial Day. And I'm going to give a list of days. It's always going to normally be the last, Saturday of the month, running from, May, but we're starting early, 1 week there, all the way to October. We have locations where we're going to have our dumpsters. Okay, our dumpster's going to be there at Westwood Park. That's on Stroman, east of John Daly. Wheatley Park, we have the dumpster there also. That's at Penn and Beach Daly. Lamone Park, that's at Middlebelt and Pine. Booker Dozier Rec Complex. I want to say this, we really want to be aggressive in trying to really clean up the city. Citizens, any citizen organizations, block clubs, can really help us along one of certain parks, streets that you want to adopt to try to clean up and help us clean up. I say when we do have our meetings at the Dozier complex on those Saturdays, we provide gloves, we're going to provide trash bags and so forth, and our main kickoff will be, like I say, May the 21st, okay? So help us. Beg pardon?
You say the kickoff date?
May 21st.
Your meeting date, what is your meeting date?
Meeting date? Okay, well, that's always the second Monday at 6 o'clock at Booker Dozier, okay?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. And, you know, I want to say something, you know, one of the things that we really in a great hardship, you know, when the gangster Snyder administration came and shut down our schools, there have always been covert things in system to try to deny education of brothers and sisters of darker hue. I mean, at one time they did, it said you can't read or write, but a couple hundred years ago. They came and shut our schools down. You're talking about trying to get training, but you're going to have to qualify by at least having something like a high school education. It's hard to get a high school education in the city of Inkster. And we could have had, we had a positive program. We had a associate degree going at Inkster High School. It was doing well. We was a little bit behind in debt. No new reason. You know, they got plans now. They want to bail out other countries and all that, but they want to allow the death of Inkster public schools. Okay, and that's a covert way of denying education for brothers and sisters of darker hue. And that's a shame. It happened to us. Guys say, okay, we're going to provide, need a high school education to, you know, in math and science and so forth, you know, to qualify almost to the program he want to bring in there. We got to do something about it and try to bring our school system back. I mean, the state got money. We got to work on that. You know, it's hard. It's a hardship for kids to get up 5 o'clock in the morning and try to wait on a bus on a cold, frigid days and all that. And then they go to some of these schools in other neighborhoods and they're going to be harassed. It's a hardship. I deal with a few kids on Mondays and Wednesdays and talk to them about the hardship they're undergoing and try to supplement to help them along, to give them a caring to want to be educated. It's bad. We got to do something about that.
Yes, sir. We are working on it.
I hope so.
No doubt.
You know, but you guys like see, there's some gangsters out there. They you know,
we know who they are.
There's some vicious, vulturistic individuals out there, like the Snyders. Don't want to see the success, and you know, it's sad. I know, it's sad. You know, they don't want to see success by our brothers and sisters. You know, it's sad.
Yes, sir.
Well, anyway.
I know. Yeah. I got you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, now I just want to make sure,
just
just for point of clarification as it relates to the Inkster Beautification Committee and the Inkster City Makeover. So we're working together on that. So that's going to be with the Beautification Committee. So we're actually working with you. So
right.
That's going to be on the third Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to start. Okay, we're going to start a little early.
Sure, that's my fault, because I thought when we were talking about
that's the 21st. That's the 21st, yeah, which is a better thing than wait till the last.
Yes, sir.
You know, so we can,
I totally agree, and we can get more people galvanized about it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you.
Appreciate you and your service.
All right.
All right. Octavius Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. It's good to see everybody. Mr. Green.
Yes.
Chance to meet you in person, huh? Well, I'm coming to you guys for 3 things. First one is the Inkster Task Force Farmers Market. All of you know that the market starts this Wednesday, May the 4th, and it will go through October the 5th, every Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. This year we have a treat. The Eastern Market from the city of Detroit will come out and bring their vegetables on Wednesdays. So please come out and support.
Let me ask a question, if I could, please. I know that before, when the Eastern Market came out, that they had to have a vendor's permit, and all of the vendors that's going to be there. So they're working with the city clerk to make sure that happens.
They should have been. That should be done already. I'm not the market manager, but I believe that should have been done.
We don't want, see, because I remember when I was operating my business at the corner.
And that wasn't the Inkster Task Force.
It wasn't the Inkster Task Force, but the city of Inkster shut them down. So I just want to make sure, again, when we talk about being consistent across the board, that, I'm not getting accused for showing favoritism or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
So I know that we need to make sure that you all, so whoever that person is, please put them in contact with the city clerk.
I shall.
Because everybody there should actually have a vendor's permit.
That is Ms. Phyllis, and I will.
And we're not going to give them a hard time. At the same time, we just need it done.
I understand.
Okay.
So the next item is Western Wayne Family Health Center. Just to keep you all in mind that we have a health facility right here in the city. Starting this Wednesday at 6:00 p.m., they are resuming Zumba classes. Now, I'm not sure if they are free because they didn't give me that note, but they used to be free when we did Zumba classes 6 to 7 in the community room at the facility. But they're here for your medical and dental needs, so please stop in and support and get your exercise on. Finally,
Octavia, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
Councilwoman
I
Waller.
think there is an ad in the senior newsletters that says those Zumba classes are free,
Okay.
okay?
Is it for the complex or is it for?
No, it's for the complex. It's in the senior newsletter.
Okay, great.
I pull it up, but I already put my computer away.
So you guys know that
At the complex.
it is free on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m.
And also, one other thing, reference your, are you all giving boosters, the second booster shot yet?
We've been doing that,
The
yes.
second one?
Yes, they are.
Oh,
And they
okay.
generally do those on Fridays and Saturdays.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
from 9 to 12.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
And finally, so let me pull this back up. The Inkster Chamber of Commerce, we are having our 23rd annual networking mixer on Tuesday, June the 14th, from 5 p.m. to 7:30. And this year it will be held at our beautiful library. So I've sent all of you guys an email again tonight while I was sitting in the audience, because I know y'all by heart by now. So please look at that and support the Inkster Chamber of Commerce. Again, we've been around for 23 years. 23 years, and we are a small chamber, but we are a mighty chamber. As a matter of fact, we did donate $10,000 to our Jazz Fest the last time we had one. So support us as well. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Thank you so much, Octavia, as usual. Lucretia Howard, I think she will.
Yeah, she left.
All right, please, just for the record. All right, running through. City Clerk, you have anything for the body?
No.
Treasurer?
I did want to mention, but I'll be brief, that we're gearing up for the very important midterm elections. We're gearing up for the very important midterm elections coming up. The primaries are in August, and the general is in November.
All right.
And that's really all I have.
All right, sounds good. Treasurer?
Yeah, of course, we'll be working on our budget, over the next couple of weeks. So, we can just, confirm 10, 11, and 12.
So that's what we're doing right now. So is that possible for everybody?
What day did you say?
10th, 11th, and 12th?
I
I
can't.
know we spent 3 days last
I can
year.
go ahead with it. I won't be able to do that.
Well, Mayor Pro Tem just said no too, so let's see here. Let's pull your calendars out, let's get to work. That's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
I can try to do Thursday, but that would be my only day.
You wanna do Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
I mean, it's up to this body. I mean, don't hold it up for me, but that's the only day I can do.
The only day out of the 3 days you can only do the one? Okay.
11th and 12th.
Y'all can go ahead, but see, I can't do 11 and 12 because I'm doing surgery that week.
Okay.
So you can go ahead on with it though, it don't matter.
Well, what
Well,
time?
we that's what we wanna figure out, unless you guys wanna just do a Saturday all day. We come in Saturday morning. Come on now, this is our job.
Right.
This is the most important part of the job. So you guys gotta make a decision, so we can do it. You wanna do it in the morning on the 10th, 11th, and 12th? You wanna do it in the afternoon? You wanna do it on a Saturday all day? It's up to you guys, I need to
I'm
know.
available on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay? There's one
And I
person.
can do Thursday nights, but I get up too early for work, so I
Any suggestions?
Just send an email out.
Okay, all right, so we'll send an email out tomorrow, but I need to have that done and locked in by the end of this week.
Didn't we send it, everybody
We've
send
all,
an email to?
we talked about this, but again, just not to belabor it. We'll
Okay.
do it and then we'll solidify it and then we'll have it put up to the general public through the city clerk and then that'll be what it is.
And then the other thing is, the education center over at the complex will be done in a couple of weeks. I've already got, data inputs, installed, and I'm just waiting on my laptop. So we'll have an education center over at the recreation complex for students to come and take classes.
I am a college professor, so I'll be any individual that's interested in obtaining degrees online, you can pursue that at the complex. And then also, we are having free Zumba classes on Thursday nights at the complex in May, just May. It's called Moving in May, so it'll be from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock at the complex, and it's free. Free Zumba.
Sound good. All right. Thank you. All right, moving right into it, Mayor and Council.
I'll speak.
You want to start? Go ahead, Councilman Chisholm.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say the digital divide presentation was very thorough. I am in favor of it. I understood the verbiage and jargon from beginning to end. I'm glad that we were brought up to speed with regard to the project, and I look forward to seeing its progress. Of course, you all know I worked at AT&T for almost 12 years, and then later in life, I was temporarily stationed at the Quicken Loans data center. That's down on, Rosa Parks and like Porter. And so I can envision the technological potential that the old City Hall can house. So I just wanted to put my support out there for it because y'all know I'm low-key a tech geek. And that's all I have.
Love it. Go ahead, Councilwoman Wiley. Anything for us?
Yes, sir. I'm still looking for IT invoices.
IT invoice, what is it? You guys talking?
They have those. Yeah, I'm still looking for IT invoices because remember I brought up the fact that they're doing business with the people and we have no way of knowing. I just want to see the invoices because I said the way they do business is weird because the business doesn't invoice the city. It invoices Nerds and then Nerds gets the money from us. And you don't really know what they're spending,
like
so
okay.
I just want to see the invoices.
Makes sense, no doubt.
Okay. All righty. Next, I had been asking for the building department, in-house versus out-house. I stopped for a couple weeks, but I'm back. Okay?
I don't understand what you, I know that you said that, so I guess you just probably need to just, I'll call you. I'll call you.
Yeah, that's fine. I just left you off to see if good things were gonna happen, and now I'm back on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Number 3 is we got an email from Troy for Office at Hand with a whole bunch of instructions. Now, as he said, he is the tech geek.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of us, well, me, I'll speak for me, am not a tech geek.
Okay.
And I need instruction. If you're gonna give me something to use, you need to instruct me in how to go about using it. Now, once I get that down, I'm good. But when you just throw that stuff at me, if you looked at the email, he had all this, well, first you sign on here, and then you do this, and then you do that, then you do the other, and I'm like, okay?
I said the same thing.
So that's Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Okay.
And the last thing is, didn't we used to have department heads attend the council meetings?
Yes.
Is there a reason we don't have that anymore?
We're getting back to that. We just know that because of COVID and because the numbers were rising up, we were like, okay, if you don't have anything for us, then don't necessarily come. But we just talked about that at the last administrative meeting about everybody coming back to council meeting because we got.
Yeah, because there are people who have
7, 8
questions for like fire. I haven't seen fire since we've been back in person.
Yep.
Or the economic development used to be, and you know. So I was just wondering if we're going to eliminate that altogether, or if we're going to start.
Fire was just here
doing that
last
again.
week. Fire was just here 2 weeks ago. Remember, we just.
Yeah, but that was for their own personal.
Exactly,
business.
that's what
They didn't even stay.
Yeah,
the rest of the meeting,
typically, again, just because of COVID, as you can see, the seats are still kind of
So I'm just
spread out.
inquiring. That's all.
Okay. Yep.
And that's all I have, man.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much,
Oh,
Councilman.
one other thing.
Ma'am.
I wanted to thank the treasurer.
Please, go ahead.
For his input on the USI situation.
Okay.
I appreciated his input. I appreciated understanding and explaining those other aspects.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Thank you
just
very
thank
much
you
for the
your input.
The acknowledgement. Thank you. Councilman Shaw?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just only have just 2 things. You're talking about
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
You talked about in the email, the Inkster Road Basin and the whole complex over there. Now, what are we going to do? I mean, we need to clear Wayne County, about Eagle, it's over my area, so I just want to.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Bivens, if you could shortly.
Oh,
It's gonna be real short.
Tell us.
Wait. It's gonna be real short. You got a report from 2016, it's now 2022. That report you got in 2016 came out to roughly $10 million to rehab that basin and bring that basketball court and everything back up into compliance. So it's 2022 now, so you're probably doubling that money right now. At the time when we got that report, we was looking at partnering with Dearborn Heights, because they got a basin just like ours. And that didn't materialize. So yes, we will have to approach the state for that kind of money, or the mayor did approach Wayne County for that kind of money, but we don't have that kind of money. And just for clarification, I'm gonna sit down. Wayne County runs that basin, we own that basin. They run that basin for us because we had a lien placed on us several years ago because we owed Wayne County some money until we solidify that debt, and I could write them a letter saying we want our basin back. But that basin is paid off.
Yeah, and that's Inkster Road across from Colonial, because people have been asking me why have we taken down the basketball rims and why we hadn't put them back up.
Because it's a liability. And if somebody gets hurt over there, it's gonna be on us. That's a liability over there. That wall, you can't see it, but that wall is ready to go at any given point. So I can't in good conscience, after I get a report like that, I can't say. And he fought me tooth and nail, and I told him I can't put them rims back up. In good conscience.
There wasn't no fight tooth and nail. Let's make sure that we're clear on that, because you know the report came out in 2016, and my question was why they didn't close it.
Yeah, I did.
Why they didn't close it then?
He did have. Yep.
So that was the issue, because now you're talking about in 2020 when COVID comes, we take the rims down, and people been playing up there this whole time. And I'm like, well, what's going on, Mr. Bibbs? Put the rims back up. And you're like, oh no, Mr. Mayor, I can't because of this. And I'm like, well, why I didn't be.
And we know our people. We padlocked that place and people cut the locks
Okay,
off.
I just wanted to make sure you were saying it right, saying I fought you tooth and nail. That wasn't the case. The study was done, and you guys should have that study, that it should have been shut down in 2016. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bibbs.
Mr. Chair, it's a beautiful complex. I mean,
Oh, no, it's great.
Especially when we try to vitalize that area over there.
Uh-huh.
It would be nice to even have that up and running. And I know,
20 million.
I know again, those dollars,
They go too well. You got us.
hopefully we, keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, sir.
Something will happen.
Okay.
Also, in Manor Park, there's, it's over by Colonial and Avondale.
Manor Park.
I have a small little park over there.
Colonial. Yep, I know where it's at. Go ahead.
The picnic tables, I mean, they have holes and all, I mean, it really needs to be pulled up, because if kids, play over there, Memorial Day is coming up, they can't even have a picnic out there, and, it's really a liability.
So just remove them?
I don't want everything, some of the equipment is good. I talked, me and Daryl, and talking, I definitely want something, over there. I know it's going to cost some money, but, if we can, I don't want it just to disappear, because then it just leave a vacant hole. But if those tables can be removed, so no one won't get hurt.
Yes, sir. And we're waiting on the news any day now. We did apply to Wayne County, and we're working hand in hand with Warren Evans and his administration as it relates to a grant to refurbish all 14 parks in the city of Inkster. Because the county is, as you've been seeing, the county's been working on for the last couple of years on the parks that they own in the city of Inkster. And they've been doing a really good job. At the same time, they owe me some more stuff, and I've been pushing them to do it, working with our Wayne County Commissioner. Because of the lines being drawn, we will have a new Wayne County Commissioner. It won't be Glenn Anderson anymore. However, we're working to push that needle, and we do from our Parks and Rec plan that we had in 2014, which we're actually working on to, redo now. Of course, and come back to the community to update it. The data that we received as it relates to the parks, they haven't changed any, as it relates to, being refurbished and revitalized. So we just submitted that information, and we're looking forward to get an answer back from them as it relates to a grant to do all of the parks in the city of Inkster.
And that sounds good, Mr. Mayor, and I hope that
And we gave it to the state too, so Jewel, them, they got it too, so we hitting every angle. Don't think that we just one bucket. We in every bucket we can be in.
And also, Mr. Chair, I know we talked about, the donation and charity type of things for the city government, but, if we can get, we're gonna be trying to talk about this even more down the road, getting members together, in the community, try to maybe donate monies to be able to, do something, with that park over there.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's a beautiful spot, where families can come and enjoy themselves. And then the last thing that I have, Mr. Chair, I just want to encourage all of my members and all of my community members and district members, if you see something, please say something. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, and if I could just add on to, just as it relates to the parks program, the Recreation Commission has put out an Adopt the Park program. Former Commissioner Antonio Wimberly presented the program to the commissioners, and I can't say as of today, it's actually complete, where we will be uploading the program onto the website. And if you want to adopt a park, then you will have all of the checklists to adopt a park. And as it relates to, organizations in the community, UCSI, wanting to adopt a park in the community, Strategic Alliance, adopt a park in the community, stuff like that we need to be working on. GFL, adopt a park in the community, and stuff like that we need to be working on. And plus, of course, all our organizations, churches, nonprofits, okay? All right, we know CUP has been doing an excellent job with their park, and we're just working with the Wheatley Park, and we just want to make the, take it to the next level. Because really, all of us are strapped. All right, Councilman Williams?
I did talk to Jerome earlier there about the potholes earlier. It seems like we're creating a lot of them in the community. And I can understand if it's small or something, but these when you run over now, you can tear your car up,
Okay.
I think we need to fill them in. But I need to ask him a question. When we patch these holes, are we putting hot patch in there, or are we putting cold patch?
Cold patch.
Tell them the difference between cold patch and hot patch.
So cold patch, when you put it into the hole, it binds together and settles in that hole. You come down the street, you put that hot patch in there, that's just it. It's hot, it goes in, it's layered and everything. You gotta come back and you gotta do that again and again and again. Cold patch lasts longer than hot patch for that very reason. Because when you put hot patch in there, it expands. You put the cold patch in there, it goes right into the hole and it settles. That's the difference.
Our streets are just terrible.
In our streets, the bottom line is, we have a lot of concrete streets in Inkster, and they're just in bad shape. It's just the reality. They're in bad shape, and we're addressing them.
And we need to stay on top of it with the plan. We just can't fix it.
Okay, we know we got all these holes, okay?
Right.
So we got to patiently get out there more because it's getting worse. It's not getting good.
Let me explain something to you so you can clearly understand this. How many times have I done Avondale, sir, before the construction started?
No.
At least 4 times. At least 4 times.
What time you did what now?
Avondale.
For sure.
Cold patching. John Daly, I've done 3 times. Cold patching. Those are major roads.
It just comes back up. I mean, you keep riding over it, comes back up and rattle.
The other roads got to be neglected.
They're not being neglected, but okay, so
I
now.
call you on a lot of them, and I know that they're being neglected because it's causing problems in the community.
I understand.
Can you say this, sir? And let's put this into clarification.
Yeah, I was
You
about to.
have,
I got
how many
10 people.
how many?
10.
And
10.
you get a water main break, how many needs to be on the water main break?
At least 5.
How many water main breaks you be getting on average a week?
3 to 4 right now.
I'm just saying we don't have staff.
Right.
When we be talking, and we have to put it out there.
Right.
We have to have these conversations. People are just saying to us, get the work done. But you went from how many people in 2000?
35.
35 with different
35
divisions.
and 6 divisions.
He had a road division. We don't have that anymore. So what we have to do again is we have to then in turn get ourselves together, get with Mr. Bivens and say, hey, Mr. Bivens, how can I help? Can I volunteer? I'll come out there and cold patch. I've been on the cold patch. I've been on Avondale. That's how I can vouch for him and say, because I'm out there cold patching with them guys, you know, just because it's our community and I know that the resources are thin. So we got to figure that out, you know, like seriously, we can't just put it all on him. And at the same time, and I done said it, and I pray to God, because it's public information, it is what it is, he's the water department. Period. That's how the consent agreement was wrote up, correct, Mayor Pro Tem Howard? Correct, Shaw? So I'm just saying, it's been said, and we have to have these conversations. We can't just keep saying, because, you know, I don't want him to get beat up, because the people that he has out there, they're getting stretched, they're getting burnt out, they're doing everything.
Nobody can beat him up.
Oh, man. Go ahead, Mr. Bivens, I'll see you, thank you. All right.
Nobody can beat him up.
You done,
But
Councilman?
I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sir?
I think, and I understand that we keep saying that we short on this, we short on that, but there's certain things in there, you don't get so short where you got a hole this big.
Oh, true, that's true.
To take the whole tie into the thing.
This is true.
Okay, somebody gotta do it.
You're right, that's true.
Concave speed bump. You don't speed up and down when you got potholes. That's
This is the truth. You got potholes, you don't have speeding. This is the truth. Voila, voila. Don't gotta put no speed bumps, we put the potholes. I like that.
And we didn't spin a dime.
We done solved it.
It took all night, but we got there.
You got anything else? Rev, you got anything else for us, Rev?
No.
All right. Councilwoman Washington?
I would just like to echo the sentiment of my colleague, Councilman Chisholm. I really appreciate Jason Dixon and Vice President Nokia coming out here and showing the works of what they've been doing. It looked really great. I didn't know the building actually looked that bad. So we really appreciate you actually coming out here and doing that, because that's something that will be really important for the future in the 21st century for our children and for anyone that wants to be educated in fiber optics. So I hope that my colleagues all agree and that we all can come together to make that project happen. And then secondly, I also would like to say great job to our code enforcement. I've seen at least once or twice on our Facebook pages catching people dumping. And I believe it was two of our council members, or one of our council members, that caught somebody in the act and called in. So great job on that. And then third, I believe I sent all this information to Director Bivens. For the potholes, the streets that I mentioned was Clear Street, Grandview Street, Hively, Glenwood, Hazelwood, Easter, and Greenwood. So I just wanted to get an update.
And if you cross-reference that with PD, we have none of those on the speed bump list, do we? That's a good one.
So that'll be all for tonight for me.
Okay, and if I just echo on that real quick before Mayor Pro Tem jumps in. The presentation was excellent. It was hands down excellent. One of the things that I'm getting, and I think with the rep here, he can vouch for me with this, is that we have to be shovel ready and we have to have skin in the game. So meaning when I go out and I'm going out for these grants, the county's saying to me, how much is the city of Inkster putting up? And I'm like, well, we broke. We don't have anything. And they're like, well, I'm like, can we do in-kind, sir? No. You need to put some money up, because we talking about sustainable things. And that's that part. So even with and we're gonna have a conversation, because the county has said to me, with the money that we've gotten for our art money, 2.4 million, that they want to see that go into a program in the city to sustain if it's the parks, we put money in the match with the parks, they'll give us $5 million. If we say, okay, we're gonna put the 2.4 towards downtown, they'll match $5 million. But if and I'm saying to them, we can't do that because we balancing our budget with that. And they're saying to me, sorry, on to the next project. and then nothing gets done. So we have to be creative. So when Jason is coming to us, and I just think that it's a godsend because we want that area developed, and we know we can't afford it. And no matter how much we keep talking about the downtown and we're gonna get the downtown, we talking to developers and they saying, show me the money. How I'm gonna make money downtown Inkster when the perception of crime is high? And I can go right next door to Dearborn Heights, to Wayne Westland, and get the same type of stuff and don't have to deal with whatever else. So we have to create this. If it takes us to give an organization like Strategic Alliance that I trust wholeheartedly, 100%, and say to them, hey, take this building that's dilapidated, which I know he trusts me because, boy, you've been over there working, just on my word, going in there, right? But at the same time, to say to them, that's our skin in the game. How we work it out, I'm going to be getting creative. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call each one of you, just talk to each one of you, because I know what you're saying. And in your mind, you're thinking like we're giving something away. But what we're giving is going to be, when I say for the greater good of this community, the greater good of this community. And we work with an organization like Jesse Shelby to get people prepared, because that's what I'm hearing from the state as well, and from the Carpenters Union and these other places that I'm working with for workforce development. They say that people can't pass the math test or they can't read. So we need to be doing those programs, getting them ready, because it'll never happen. They'll never go off into the next level. So we have to be creative. So that's all I'm saying. I 100% agree with what they're trying to do. So Mayor Pro Tem Howard, go ahead and we'll close it out.
Only thing I have to say is thank you, Jason. You worked really hard and hope you continue and help us out. That's all I have to say.
All right, call for adjournment.
So move.
Support? All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those nay can stay.
It wasn't forever meetings.